morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mojisola Olatinwo, and you are most welcome to today's event, National Stakeholders Workshop and Sensitization on ISO 5001 and 14, 1401 standards. Um, it is good to see everybody this morning. So before we go into today's event, I would like us all to rise as we say the national prayer. Let's all rise to our feet as we say the national prayer this morning. On the count of three, 1, 2, 3. Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Thank you very much. Can we be seated this morning? This morning, there's a whole lot, this morning all into the afternoon, there's a whole lot on the agenda. We would be having um, several people come up to make different presentations. I'd like to welcome the PMU man. I'd also, in the course of today, we'll be hearing from the Director, GF Operational Focal Point. We would also be hearing from the team lead, IE Working Group, Energy Commission of Nigeria, Engineer Okone Peyong, I believe. We would also be hearing from the team lead, RECP Working Group, Federal Ministry of Environment, Engineer Morgan Chigbo, our National Technical Coordinator, Dr. Oluwasegun Oshidipe, the National Project Coordinator, Mr. Jacob Oladipo, our IEE and RECP national experts, Head Elect Lab SON Engineer IA Lawal. I'd like to welcome these distinguished facilitators this morning. I'd like to welcome our distinguished participants this morning. And I hope that we all would look forward to a very productive and enlightening day. So, without much further ado, as is our practice, the second mic will go around for a brief introduction and our expectation from today's event. So we have the second mic. I'll start here. So a brief introduction, your name, your organization, and what your expectation is in 30 seconds. Ma'am, can we start with you, ma'am?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Professor Adeyemi, University of Abuja, Energy and Environmental Engineering.
Your expectation, ma'am, from today's event.
To update myself on what's going on in terms of energy efficiency in industries. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's put our hands together for Prof.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes.
I'm the CEO of Abigani Detailer. I'm the CEO of Abigani Detailer. I'm in the tailoring service and the other services. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we encourage each other by giving a round of applause after everyone has spoken this
Right.
morning?
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm the secretary at Gates Consulting Limited. Thank you.
Your name, please.
Okay, my name is Evelyn Eberry.
Okay, and what's your expectation for from today's
I'm here
event?
to update my situation.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ali Rutolo Alashe from Energy Commission of Nigeria, and I'm here with the expectation to learn how the ISO 50001 can be integrated into organizations.
Thank you.
My name is Philomena Fonesian from Abumen Nigerian Limited, Senior HSE Officer. I'm here to learn more about energy efficiency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Bankole Ibrahim from Yalam Price, internal auditor. My expectation here this morning is to see on how the greenhouse emission will be reduced. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please let us put a round of applause for him and for everybody that speaks.
Good morning. My name is Akintunde Babalola from DLK, Production Manager for DLK. Here to skill the green energy updates.
Thank
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mukhtar Isa Abdullahi, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. More learning, more updates.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Engineer Bingo Lokide from Energy Commission of Nigeria. I'm here this morning to learn and relearn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Bege Aigora from Abmet Nigeria Limited. So my expectation is to add more to what we've learned before and see how to implement it to achieve the goal.
Thank you. A round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Okwe Caleb John from Needs Packaging, and I'm here to learn how to efficient, cleaner energy production in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for him, please.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
My
morning.
name is Olufemi Mesiru. I'm representing Ichiro Woodward. My expectation today is to see how I can bring to bear the IS 5001 into our production line in the wood manufacturing company.
Awesome. A round of applause for him.
My name is Tony Olasumbo, and I'm from Interior Woodwork Limited. I'm the brand and production manager, and I'm here to also learn and relearn, and then to get myself updated about this training. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's put our hands together for him. Can the mic go to the other side of the aisle? Okay, we have somebody that hasn't spoken on this side.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Engineer Bem Ayaga from the Federal Ministry of Power. I'm here to gain more knowledge on energy efficiency and to see how we can also translate that on a larger scale to many more Nigerians. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, all.
Good
My
morning.
name is Dr. K.A. Adigun, Executive Chairman, Air Resources Nigeria Limited, manufacturers of industrial and medical gases. I'm here to learn. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Good morning, all. I'm Engineer Lawal from Standards Organization of Nigeria. I'm here for us to see how we can collaborate, work together as a team for a better Nigeria in the ISO 50001 Energy Management System Standard and ISO 14001, the Environmental Management System Standard. Thank you.
Thank you, San. He's one of our wonderful facilitators for this morning or later in the afternoon.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hayatuddin Baba Umar from Elevators and Escalators Nigeria Limited. purpose of my coming to see how we can translate theory into practice. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. A round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Deji Okubanjo. I'm representing CASA Services. We're printing. We hope by the end of this, we'll be able to learn more of how efficiently to use energy at a very optimal cost. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kingsley Odo from CASPrint, and my expectation this morning is how to gain more knowledge on cleaner production assessment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a COP member on the Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, and I'm here to learn more on industrial energy efficiency. Thank you.
Amazing. Can we put our hands together for her?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Daniel Ibobo from Tawada Limited. I'm here to learn more about ISO 50001 and 14001. We currently have ISO 9001 quality management QMS here, so this will be an additional advantage to us. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's put our hands together for him.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Engineer Ibrahim M. Ahmed from Tawada Limited. My expectation is to learn more on emerging technologies in the fields of terms of energy efficiency and cleaner production. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause.
I'm Itan Onogure from UNIDO Industries Limited. I understand that there will be CPA result review, so I will get to see what others are doing that we can imitate.
Absolutely. Let's put our hands together for him.
Thank you. My name is Mebelo Molnaya from Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. I'm here to have more insights on ISO 5001 and 14001, and how can this ISO 5001 and 14001 how can it increase industrial performance and then reduce emission? Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Adijat Muhammad. The name of my company is New Material Nigeria Company Limited. The company has been proactive because we have installed CNG generating set, which is a clean energy. So while I'm here, and my expectation is to know what further energy efficiency the company can use to better the company production or to optimize our production too. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's put our hands together for her.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Obasa Rutimi. I'm the accountant, the LK Clothing Signature. My expectation for this training this morning, I've been part of it right from the beginning, and I've been enjoying it with it. I mean, I know so many of us here, so we'll be gaining so much. But my basic expectation is to see how we can actually translate ISO. How ISO is going to transform my organization, transition us into energy efficient organization. Thank you.
Very much. Let's put our hands together for him. It comes to this table.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yomi Adeogun of Justinade Company Limited. I'm here to learn and to relearn. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for him.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Oloyede Wingan from Nigerian Environmental Society. Since NES is one of the main advocacy organizations in environmental issues in Nigeria, I think one of my major expectations here is to understand the synergy between ISO 50001 and ISO 14001, which is basically environmental management system. So what is that synergy that can improve the environmental awareness that NES is doing? That's my expectation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for ourselves. Once again, I welcome us all this morning, and I believe that all our expectations will be met in the course of the day. Very quickly, I'd like to invite Mr. Jacob Oladipo for the welcome address. Can we put our hands together for him as he comes forward?
Good morning to all participants in this training, the implementing agencies, UNIDO, Jeff, and other stakeholders. I welcome you all to this training. It's one of the series in the training that we have been having since the beginning of this project. And I'm happy to say that we are winding up. And whatever we learn here today should not remain with you. It has to translate to the entire industry and professional bodies in the country. So that at the end of this project, we'll be able to say that we've learned and we are using our knowledge. It is on this note that I welcome every one of you to this training. Thank you.
A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure. We need to respond. Only one person is responding. Aha. It's a pleasure once again to stand before you this moment. However, before we proceed with what we have on the agenda, we are privileged to have the Vice Chairman of Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, Abuja branch, in our midst. During the introduction, he aptly introduced himself, but would like to take advantage of his presence here because he's one of our leaders to take the slot of welcome address meant for Manufacturer Association of Nigeria. We're operating within his domain and courtesy demand that since he's here personally, he should take that welcome address. I would like us to put our hands together as I bring to the podium Mr. Adigun Kamaruddin, Vice Chairman, Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, Abuja chapter.
Thank you very much, sir. Once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm representing Abuja, Niger, and Nasarawa as the Vice Chairman, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Distinguished guests, esteemed members of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to welcome each one of you to this workshop on the GEF, UNIDO, IEE, and RECP project. I recognize the heads of government regulatory agencies, the organized private sector, and manufacturers who personally took time to attend this session. Your presence at this session is a testimonial of your belief and strong commitment to sustainable industrial growth and development. I would like to specifically thank UNIDO for its concerted effort to reposition the manufacturing sector in Nigeria for sustained growth through the adoption of leading global practices and methodologies. it is expedient that I affirm up front, that the gains of intentional effort of this kind are usually mutually beneficial and therefore a win-win for all stakeholders. The implementation of the GF UNIDO Industrial Energy Efficiency, Resource Efficiency, and Cleaner Production Project marks a defining moment in our collective journey towards sustainability. It represents an essential moment for us as leaders in the manufacturing sector, where we have opportunity and indeed the responsibility to champion sustainable practices that not only drive growth, but also preserve our planet for generations to come. Therefore, as we come together to deliberate and strategize, let us not underestimate the transformative power of our discussions. The challenges posed by energy inefficiencies are multifaceted, encompassing not only economic consideration, but also environmental impacts and social implications. Embedded within these challenges are opportunities to innovate, optimize, efficiently utilize resources, and to lead the way towards a more sustainable future. As we embrace the principles of energy efficiency, we will not only be reducing our carbon footprint, but also mitigating environmental degradation and saving on energy cost. In return, the efficiency, competitiveness, and resilience of our operations will be enhanced to meet the increasing demand of our ever-evolving global marketplace. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we can safeguard our environment and foster sustained economic growth and development in Nigeria by adopting cleaner production method, optimizing resource utilization, and investing in energy efficient technologies. As we embark on this journey towards greater industrial energy efficiency, let us harness the collective knowledge, expertise, and creativity present in this room. Let us engage in robust dialogue, forge partnerships, and adopt IEE and RECP methodologies in our respective industries. I am confident that together we can gain further traction in our quest to promote environmental friendly manufacturing. May I therefore encourage everyone to actively participate in the conversations we'll be having today. Share your insight and engage in open and constructive dialogue. Let us leverage this platform to forge new pathways and inspire innovation that will drive tangible action towards our shared vision of cleaner, better Nigeria. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Can we give a more convincing applause? Thank you. Very quickly, I would like to call on the representative of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, Team Lead IEE Working Group, Engineer Okon Ekpeyon. Let's put our hands together as he comes to the podium for his welcome, for his address and remarks. Can we put our hands together for him? Okay, he's being represented.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Engineer Bengo Lokede. I'm standing in here for the team lead of Industrial Energy Efficiency Energy Commission of Nigeria in person of Dr. Shehu Mustafa. Distinguished participants, representatives of industries, government agencies, development partners, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome every one of us to this sensitization workshop on these two globally recognized standards, the ISO 50001, which represent energy management system, and ISO 14001, which represent the environmental management system. This workshop comes at a critical time when our industries are under increasing pressures to improve operational efficiency, reduce energy cost, minimize environmental impact, and remain competitive in both domestic and international markets. The integration of energy and environmental management system is particularly important in the context of Nigeria's sustainable development goals and energy transition efforts. Industries that proactively adopt this standard position themselves as leaders in innovation, efficiency, and responsible production. Today's workshop is designed to increase our awareness of ISO 50001 and ISO 14001. Is to also clarify the implementation processes and benefits. This workshop also will address common misconceptions and provide guidance on steps forward. It's also to foster collaboration among stakeholders. I encourage all participants to engage actively, ask questions, share experiences, and explore how these standards can be adopted within our respective organizations. Let me assure you that the IEE team remains committed to supporting industries in building capacities, providing technical guidance, and facilitating access to best practices in energy and environmental management. With these few remarks, I want to wish every one of us a robust deliberation. Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite to the podium the team lead RECP Working Group, Federal Ministry of Environment, Engineer Morgan Chigbo. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes up.
Good morning, distinguished participants. It's indeed my pleasure to join you once again to this wonderful session of introducing the industrial energy efficiency and resource efficiency cleaner production within the industrial hub of Nigeria. This project is 4 years down the line, and a lot has been put into it to alleviate the purpose of industrial performance in the area of energy system optimization and resource efficiency cleaner production in Nigeria. Through this project, the RECP Working Group, in conjunction with the Project Management Unit, has indeed performed a lot of activities ranging from capacity building, data gathering, and database for energy and resource intensive industries. And today we are here once again to promote the awareness within the industries. For us from the Federal Ministry of Environment, we are willing to support a policy process that will optimize the performance of industries within the resource efficiency cleaner production. And today, I am looking forward for a very wonderful communication process, networking, and a smooth interface between the government and the industrial players. Thank you once again, and I wish you a successful deliberation. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's time for us to get up, stretch our legs a little bit. It's time for our tea break. We acknowledge the fact that the fasting has started today. So for everybody that is fasting, you can actually have your tea break items packaged for you, but you would also need to go and see to that personally. So please let's go for our tea break, and that will be on for about 15 to 20 minutes so that we can quickly make a headway in today's program.
This presentation is expected to be made in the course of meetings, workshops, stakeholders, dialogue session. I think the intention of um, the financier as well as the implementing agency for the project is the more we talk about it, the more we internalize some of them. So my assignment here is just to share with us an overview of the JEF UNIDO Industrial Energy Efficiency and Resource Efficient Cleaner Production Project Nigeria and implementation status. I'm not oblivious of the fact that many of us already, because come a long way, you are familiar with some key concepts of the project, so I won't spend too much time on them. I will focus more on the last leg of this, the title of this presentation, which is more like implementation status. I'll just run through other slides. The project title is Improving Nigeria's Energy Performance and Resource Efficient Cleaner Production through Pragmatic Approach and the Promotion of Innovation in Cleaner Technology Solutions, well, expected to be deployed within the industrial setting. Where we'll look at what we have on the ground, on the screen. The project itself is funded by JEF, which is Global Environment Facility. The major implementing agency is the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO. Project cost, JEF contribution, co-financing. I know the expectation would be to see a figure here, but the bottom line is a combination of both the figure and in kind, because some agencies of government, including Nigerian government, federal government, as well as some institutions, also partner in kind by providing some facility space and all of that. Where we'll look at the executing partners. Who are the executing partners? Remember, the financier is Global Environment Facility. The major implementing partner is UNIDO. When we talk about executing partners, we have the Federal Ministry of Environment, we have Energy Commission of Nigeria, and we have, of course, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Who are the key stakeholders? The key stakeholders, as we can see on the screen, contain the names of critical organizations who, by mandate, the mandate of their various institutions, have direct or indirect impact on what the project intends to focus on. You have Bank of Industry. There, you'll be wondering, why Bank of Industry? It's a financing component of the project document that expects Bank of Industry to provide funds at single-digit interest rates to industry that have the intention of deploying any of these methodologies in their facility. You have Federal Ministry of Power. You can't be talking about anything energy without involving Ministry of Power. You have Standards Organization of Nigeria. You can't be talking about deploying ISO 50001, ISO 14001 without carrying along the sole agency with the mandate on standards in Nigeria along. You have the National University Commission. The National University Commission is there because as part of the implementation, the provision of the project document were to develop a curriculum which universities from now on will start delivering, offering those courses. By the way, by way of update, the curriculum has been developed. The curriculum has been approved by NUC, and by the special grace of God, first week in March this year, at an event to be superintended over by NUC, the curriculum will be launched. As pilot, 4 universities have been selected across the country as pilots because we have inspected their laboratories, they have established center of excellence that have mandates that is similar to what the project is all about. And this university, as Federal University of Petroleum, EFRO, you have University of Abuja, you have University of Lagos, and you have Bayero University in Kano. Sorry. So we also have 4 selected universities. I've spoken about that. We also have National Investment Promotion Commission. We have Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. We have Nigeria Economic Society. We have International Center for Energy, Environment, and Development, ICED. When you look at this organization, like I said earlier, you will see that by the enabling law, establishment law, they have one role or the other to play in a project of this nature. The objective of the project is simple, is to accelerate the adoption of industrial energy efficiency and to improve enterprise environment performance under the wide umbrella of resource efficiency and production, best practices and innovative approaches within selected small, medium, large-scale industrial enterprises. The long and short of this story is just to let us know that the primary focus of the project is to see to it that these two methodologies are well in place, adopted, of course, after domesticating it to meet with the peculiarity of the country, adopted by industries nationwide. The methodologies are twofold, just like we have two pillars, IEE and RECP. For IEE, I've mentioned it earlier. You talk about ISO 50001, which focuses more on energy management system, optimization, and all of that. Then when you look at the second pillar, that is RECP, focuses on ISO 14001, which is also talking about the environmental management system and all of that. What is the institutional arrangement that is on ground? You know, at the beginning, I told you that the financier, like the popular saying, they say, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. At the top of the organogram, you have the Global Environment Facility. And after that, on the wrong, in form of hierarchy, you have the major implementing partner, which is UNIDO. Then you have directly under that the project management unit. The project management unit, for the first time in implementing any international organization, how do I call it, in a country project, this is the first time that the private sector is the one managing the project aspect of it. And it shows that gradually development partners, as well as even the federal government of Nigeria, is gradually allowing the private sector to take the driver's seat. To the right, you will see Bank of Industry. I've spoken about Bank of Industry already. To the left, you have Project Steering Committee. The Project Steering Committee is like the governing board of the project. I would like to respectfully commend members of the, permit me to use the word, governing board of the project, which is the Project Steering Committee, that found time to be part of this session. We specifically invited them because we are getting towards the end of the project and we felt it's expedient to carry them along. The role of the Project Steering Committee is to approve the work plan, approve the budget, and from time to time review the progress that we are making. I would like to especially recognize our rep, members of PSC from ICEED, if I'm not mistaken, NIPC that is here with us, and I think we have someone from NES also here with us. We also have from Ministry of Power. We appreciate your being here with us, and we are not taking it for granted. You will see also beneath the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, as well as Jeff Focal Point. When you look under that rung, the layer, you will see a line arrangement, which specifically focusing on the working groups. You recall that the executive partners at the beginning, I mentioned they are ECN and Ministry of Environment. The IE working group is domicile, just like you have PMU in MAN, is domicile in Energy Commission of Nigeria. The RSP working group is domiciled in Ministry of Environment. We are lucky to have the lead of those groups also here present with us. We are not taking your presence for granted, and thank you for all the good work you have been doing to ensure that we implement the project successfully in Nigeria. Of course, at the extreme end on that line, you have the international national expert. We have international experts that come in from time to time on a mission to Nigeria to carry out their project or the tasks assigned to them. And of course, usually we have our own national expert whose capacity have been improved, enlarged, upscaled to be able to continue the work even after the expiration of the project to guarantee sustainability. At the lower rung of the organogram, you see all others there industries, commercial entity, NESRIA, the universities have talked about, NOTAP, RMRDC, state governments, MDAs, and key private sector organizations. That takes me to the next one. What are the components? You know, I mentioned one component earlier that talks about the financing component while trying to talk about Bank of Industry. These are the other components. One of them is to strengthen national industrial and environment policy and regulatory framework. Another is to enhance investment in industrial energy efficiency, improvement and cleaner production with relevant sections of Nigeria industrial sector. The other one is to also ensure the emplacement of ENMS, ESO, and RECP piloting and demonstration program. The other one is to ensure the emplacement of modular IAE, RECP management system and energy system optimization and resource efficient production, industrial enterprise and engineering consultancy-based training and capacity building program. The last one talks about industrial and commercial ENMS, ESO, RECP awareness promotion services, demand generation and sharing of lessons learned. Before the commencement of the project as far back as 2020-2021, the bulk of concepts like this, particularly IE and RECP, somewhat to some level nascent to us. But if you look at them, you break them down critically and look at the component, you'll find out that you can find some of those terminologies, some of the courses that we're already doing, either in engineering or environmental management, but not set aside as a distinct body of knowledge on its own. Who are the, which area, geographical region are we to target the project on? Region 1, Southwest, Region 2, South-South, Region 3, we have Southeast, and Region 4, we have North. At the beginning of the project, we started with all of these states, I think excluding Oyo and Sapele. But however, as the project implementation might gravitated towards actualization of the key milestones set for us, and because of the peculiarity of concentration of industry, we had to now centralize our operation in the zones. In the north, we have, we have Kano, also we have Abuja, then we have Lagos, then we have Onitsha thereafter. Which sectors are we focusing on? If you are operating in manufacturing, you're operating in the petrochemical sector, wood and wood furniture sector, textile sector, you are operating in the basic metal, iron and steel sector, and you're operating in food and beverage sector, you are qualified to be part and parcel of the project. And that, of course, based on the dictate of the project document, informed our selection of industries that have benefited in the project till date. What are the key milestones, other key milestones that we're expected to achieve? Because the key component, one of them is capacity building. We are actually expected to train 17 industries across the country. We'll get to updates. You will see that we have actually surpassed 70 industries. We've trained more than using the same resources that have been provided. We're also expected to ensure that we develop a pool of 300 industrial energy efficiency and 200 resource efficient and cleaner production experts indirectly. Either they are staff of industries or they are staff of strategic agencies that are working with us on the project. Of course, the last milestone is for us to ensure that we appoint 4 universities as training and certification institution for the continuation and implementation of IEE and RECP methodology as a course or 2 courses, separate, distinct courses in Nigeria. The broad objective and benefit of IEE and RECP, you can find that on the screen. Of course, as an industry, when you deploy this methodology within your facilities, you will be reducing cost of production and you'll be improving your own profitability without even lifting a finger. Or sometimes it could just be a behavioral change on how you relate and how you relate with equipment and energy sources within your factory. Of course, when you deploy these 2 methodologies in your facility, you also be improving the health of not only your worker, you will also be improving the health of the economy because you'll be contributing meaningfully, ensuring that you are operating in a responsible way in a manner that your carbon footprint to your host community is not such that will affect the health of your host community, members of your host community. Of course, you will be making positive impact on the environment when you do that, because you'll be reducing emission, you'll be reducing pollution, and you'll be manufacturing responsibly in a manner that everyone around, within and around the facility, we have good things to say about your industry. Of course, you will be reducing exposure to global rising energy prices. Listen to me, like I always tell people, energy cost will continue to rise no matter what we do. That's why when I read on the pages of newspaper, hey, the tariff is high, they will still go up. The tariff will still go higher. I'm not a prophet of doom, but when you look at what is happening in the global environment, you see that energy costs, in terms of prices, are actually skyrocketing. So if there's a better time to begin to go green, to think sustainability, I think this is the time. Of course, finally, you'll be improving your brand visibility and image. Today, there are frameworks in place that will make some financier not to even fund your operation or support your operation with fund if they observe that you are not deploying sustainability techniques in your facilities. Oh, in fact, there are some reporting standards now that expect you to also factor in ESG and sustainability in your operation. So once you adopt those two methodologies, indirectly or directly, you are also improving your visibility, the visibility of your company as well as your brand. For example, if you're an industry that you have been able to employ these two methodologies, it will be easy for United Nations to buy your product and send to RECP camp, to send to other countries in trouble zones. They can buy from you because already you are on the path and are showing that you have complied. The next slide is just showing the number of workshops and training and attendance, more like the dashboard. When you look at the screen, you see the sum of number of attendees. As we speak today, we have done over 1,000. Over 1,000. And when you look at the extreme right, when you look at the sum of attendees broken into color, 2025, 2023, 2022, 2024, 2021, you will see clearly that 2025 appears to be the largest, which means when we started newly, because it was nascent to many, because many didn't understand what the concept was all about, we're only able to gain attention of very few industries. But as we speak today, the awareness is huge, which means the project to a large extent has been able to achieve one of its primary objectives for setting up the project. The other ones are also they are speaking directly to the number of female and male. One of the boxes we are expected to tick is that our training, for some of you, I didn't do it today. When we are taking photographs, you know what I normally do now? I will put all the women in front so that as UNIDO is seeing pictures, and they will say, yes, you are obeying what we ask you to do. I think the essence of that is they want us to also carry the female folks along, and that we've been able to do effectively. The next one talks about the company's trained per location. We are expected to train, you remember, 75 industries. From the count, when you look at the total that we're having on the board, we have done over 120. And that is to show that using the same fund, using the same materials provided, we've been able to do that. Because implementing any project in Nigeria, first of all, is for the benefit of Nigerians. So the more you expand it and you domesticate it, the better for us. That takes me to the photo session. Being an international project, we are also expected to submit all of these to UNIDO as evidence, as part of the evidence that we are able to hold what we're asked to do. The first one is a public-private sector dialogue session with CEOs in 2024 at the Lagos Marriott Hotel. That takes me to the second one, which it's a pictorial view of training and capacity building workshop on IE and RECP methodologies in Lagos, Kano, Benin, and Onitsha. The next one talks about the Finance and Investment Training Workshop on IEE and RECP methodologies, Lagos and Onitsha. The next one talks about a cleaner production assessment that we conducted in Kano, at GB Tannery, at Tofa Textiles. We also have cleaner production assessment conducted in some factories, a particular factory in Ogun State, that's Nigerian Foundries Limited. The next one talks about the cleaner production assessment conducted far away in Benin, in a company called Presco PLC. The next one talks about cleaner production assessment conducted in two companies far away in Anambra State, Onitsha, Geolis Cables Limited and Tommy Tommy Food. The next one is a training workshop on IE and RSP methodology for media stakeholders, held on December 18, 2024, Abuja. Someone will be wondering why the media, part of the provision of the project document, expect us to also train the media. If you have a follower of trend on sustainability, if you pick up your newspaper and you start reading, journalists, because that's not their background, I don't want to say misuse, they use some terminologies that are conflicting and contradictory. So in the wisdom of UNIDO, that was included, that they should be trained to understand sustainability and also understand the key core component. Like, you agree with me, every line of human endeavor has its own, what we call, register of words. So the essence is to also share, and that we've also done on the zones that are earmarked for the project. We also had a capacity building workshop for Bank of Industries, some commercial banks and strategic stakeholders in Uyo, Akwa Ibom. And that is to also expose them. And I would like to testify that some of the banks that participated in the program, even before this one and this one, they have now developed products that they are now selling to their customer, financial products. What I mean by financial products, you see the likes of Fidelity, Sterling Bank, UBA, they now have products that they are selling. If you, as a customer, you want solar in your house, there's a product. You just look at the condition, fill the forms, and all of that and all of that. The finance and investment training phase 2 also took place as required in the four zones, Lagos, Kano, Anambra, and Abuja. That takes me to the next one, Intermediate Technical Training Workshop on IE and RECP methodology, held at Godview, also in Lagos. I need to say that because it's a new body of knowledge, we started with the basics. For those of us that have been on this journey with us, after the basics, we went to the intermediate on IE and RECP. Thereafter, we went further to take the phase 3, which is more like an advance. But now, by reason of commitment and participation, only very few will be taking the very advanced course, which will be coming up very, very soon. Those ones, as well as those that will participate in ISO certification, certificated course on ISO 50001 and 14001 series, they will be trained and certified by ISO as lead and auditors and lead auditors. Those ones are the ones that have been able to pass through the whole processes and can beat their chest and show certificates, to show internationally recognized certificate to show that, of course, indeed, they are ready for the works ahead. Cleaner production assessment mission 1 was carried out in 10 companies in Lagos and Ogun State. I've shown us some of the pictures earlier. You can see the pictures. I think this is at Beluxi in Agbara. This at Amel International Limited, somewhere around Ejigbo. This is House Sesri Limited, Oba Akran. This is at Promasidor, the popular manufacturer of cowbell mix and top tea. This at Right Foods in Ijebu-Ode. This at Berger Paints in Oba Akran, in Keja. This at Oman U, I think far away in the Korodu. This at Noxy Nigeria Limited. I think it's Palm Avenue area, stroke Agege Motor Road. This is Avon Crown Caps in Agbara. This is Nestle Foods Agbara factory. It was also, this one is a training workshop on IER methodology held at Soprom Hotel in Onitsha. Cleaner production assessment were also conducted in Anambra State. You could see the pictorial view to save time. This is Sephora Industries Limited. This is Jolie's, I've mentioned that. This is Kate Associate Industry. This is Amos Best Industries. This is Tommy Noodles. I think I mentioned that earlier. This is Transtel Ventures. This is Zek Industries Limited. This is Ike God Foods Limited. And before I move to the next slide, I would like to explain that for information purposes, the cleaner production assessment is a combination of energy audit and also environmental management system assessment. Energy audit, where they conduct a CPA in your facility, what they are trying to look at is to identify energy waste hotspots. And for RECP, they're also trying to see how efficiently and effectively you are utilizing all the resources at your disposal, from air to chemical to your raw materials and all of that. And thereafter, the international expert in partnership with national expert will issue a report that will point the management to things that they need to change. Believe you me, if as a company you have to go and contract someone, a consultant, to conduct energy audit in your factory alone, there's no how you won't pay between 10, 15 million audit alone. But out of the magnanimity of Jeff and UNIDO, these companies that we mentioned had the opportunity of their facility being assessed free of charge. Finance and investment training phase 3. September, we did that in 2023. And this in the zones, Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Anambra. Then thereafter, we had intermediate technical training workshop on IEE methodology in Kano, September 2025. Cleaner production assessment was also conducted in Kano from Dala Foods Limited to Sahibu, to JK Carpets and Rugs, to Haiko Nigeria Limited, to Turari Hausawa Limited, to Bright Star, to Tofa Textile Limited, to Unique Leather Finishing Company, to Rumbu Industry Limited, to Gongoni Company Limited, to Alwabil Rice Mill Limited. Then we also conducted cleaner production assessment mission in Abuja. This is where we are now. We conducted cleaner production assessment at GU Ibeco. We also conducted cleaner production assessment with international expert and national expert at HSM International Limited. We did same, it's a pictorial view, Abument. You can see Abument on the top segment. We also conducted CPA at DLK Clothing and Signature. We also conducted CPA at Tawada Limited, Interior Woodworks Limited, and we also conducted training on IEE RECP methodology for media stakeholders, this time around in Kano. We also had public-private sector policy dialogue session where the public sector and the private sector and CEOs sat down to look at critical issues, particularly policy and regulations and guidelines governing the space of IEE and RECP. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the principal aim of the project is to support industries to align operations with the IEE and RECP methodology. Undoubtedly, this will facilitate efficient use of energy and resources and help to minimize environmental impact, energy consumption, and production cost, while maximizing profitability. Over 1,300 individuals participated in the series of training and workshops conducted by implementing partners. 122 manufacturing firms, 35 government ministry, department and agencies, 10 professional associations and institutes, 47 news/media organizations, and 9 financial institutions were effectively engaged in the course of implementing this project. In addition, cleaner production assessment was conducted in 42 selected companies. All of the above represent significant strides towards sustainable industrial practices in Nigeria. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. Coming up quickly, we would have a presentation of the results of CPA from the IEE and RECP national experts. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Obafemi as he comes up for his own part of this report. Can we put our hands together properly for him, please? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Good afternoon once again. And I want to believe that we are enjoying our stay here. Nobody's answering me. All right, so I will be touching on things that we saw when we visited some of the sites that we have visited, about 42 number of them. And I know if those that have seen me in their sites know that, are we together? Oh, thank you very much. All right, so we'll just quickly speak to the agenda, what we want to do. Basically, we want to present some of the key findings. We just talk on them briefly, because if I want to talk about all the 42 sites, that will take a long time. But we just have a kind of brief discussion on that. And then we want to sensitize people on the ISO 50001 structure again. Because the CPA that we have done is just like the first step onto ISO 50001. As for many of us that we have been part of this training over time, we've tried as much as possible to explain as part of the methodology of this IEE component, which includes energy management energy system optimization and energy management system. So, but we could not really go so much into the energy management system, and we've always push the narrative that energy audit is good. Meanwhile, energy audit will just have to deal with the present problem that you're having in your facility, while energy management system will be a kind of a system that will be in place. So if, for example, you have an energy auditor in your facility and the man for any reason leaves, there will be continuity because there is a system grant. So it's not just a one-off thing. So then we want to discuss like how the policy, all mechanisms that can also assist all these things we're talking about. So it's important for us to know that industry, just to bring us to the picture again, industry consumes about 30% globally. Like they emit that ratio too. When you talk about the emission, from the pre-industrial race till now, we're having a lot of need for industry to increase. Sometimes around 2009, 2010, it was about 21%. But as we speak now, the rate at which industries are contributing to the emission has increased. So there is a need for us to really work on this. And I heard somebody talking about how to find the linkage, like the synergy between ISO 50001 energy management system and ISO 14001. No, everything speaks to the pollution that goes on in the environment. Just like maybe for some of us that will probably be joining for the first time and we're not really part of the training, let me quickly speak to some of those things. When you burn energy inefficiently, there are CO2 component that goes into the atmosphere. And permit me to tell you that based on studies, those CO2s can be there for more than 200 years. Let's say an average of 200 years. So if we have inefficient consumption in our facilities, what that means is that there will be a lot of CO2s that will go and block the sky. And then you have a lot of heat being generated into this place that is even different from the heat that would have gone out to the space. It will be trapped into the earth. And what we later face is global emission and a lot of all those hazards. So one of the things that UNIDO is now trying to do is to see that if you are consuming energy efficiently, it will reduce that risk. So that's number one. And another thing is also that it places our industry on a platform to compete nationally, or globally rather. I don't want to really be so specific, but there is a company that we work on that what they do, they present a raw material for another company outside Nigeria. But one of the things that they are really struggling with now is that the carbon emission, they are so much into their carbon emission accounting. They want to be able to account for how much emission they are doing. Because if you cannot account for it, the international body that want to buy your product, they look at you like, no, we cannot buy your carbon errors from you. And when we buy, because it will rub off on us. And then our product will not be accepted. So they need somebody that, they need companies that have been able to reduce, and they have certificate that they have reduced their carbon emission. So it's forcing them to want to meet up with that demand. So a lot of industries are already on their toes trying to meet up with this problem. So then, in our national context, the major problem we face is that we just know that one day you just wake up and you see that diesel fuel has increased again. Like the cost of diesel has increased. NEPA bill can just come tomorrow and they tell you that band A, band B is not working again. Be your base load and use this one to augment anytime the needs increases and reduce. So that will reduce your energy consumption. So all those kind of low-hanging fruits are part of what UNIDO is pushing for in your facility. Yes, there are some bigger ones that you can also talk about. Like some instances where some facilities really need hot water, they have to still burn gas. There is also a food industry that we went to that they are using a vapor absorption chiller. So now they claim they have one problem or the other with their process, like of extracting the heat for the vapor absorption chiller. And then they now start burning gas for the vapor absorption chiller. That's not efficient. Because vapor absorption chiller has lower COP. So when you are now burning gas for it, you are spending more to achieve what free heat that your generator is emitting. You can get that. Because how vapor absorption chiller works is that for all of us to be on the same page, it takes heat. You take it in and use that heat in using mechanical process and chemical processes, convert it to cooling process, cooling cools like cold airs and water that you can use for your process, for your chill process operation. But it's not as efficient. So the best way you can have that is if you have free source of energy free source of heat energy or waste heat energy that is going on, that's when you can bring vapor absorption chiller for your process. But if you now need to go and be buying nitrogen, natural gas, or you are not to, they have the need for heat and they don't even pay attention to it. We look at the electrical systems as well. So many facilities operate on very low power factor. In fact, in a facility in Kano, we have some people that they're having issue with their chiller. They have very massive chiller, but they have problem with it. What's the problem? Low voltage. So they said the chiller is so sensitive that anytime there is low voltage, there will be a problem with. Okay, may I throw that questions to us? If we have low voltage, what do you think should be the solution? Huh? You said? You said what? Step up. Yeah, what can we use for step up? You said what? Some said at the transformer. Yes, you can change the tap at the transformer. But they claim they have done that. So what do you think we can do to that? Capacitor can do it. Automatic voltage regulator. At home we have stabilizers, right? So that's the work of a stabilizer. So when you have something like a stabilizer, what it does, those voltage are coming in, it steps it up to what you need in your facility, and life goes on. Am I communicating? So that's just one of the low-hanging fruit that you can have. Like, that may not be as expensive actually to get the AVR, but still you'll be able to meet the need of your facility instead of now saying that the chiller is not working, and you are now even thinking on like getting another source of energy. Like, for example, another PPA, whatever. The PPA may not work in your facility. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So in some facilities like that, when you have low voltage, what you need as a solution is just AVR. AVR will make you to use the grid that is available and cheaper than diesel for you. Some people, they will keep burning diesel because they say the light is so bad, it's so poor. That's not the solution. Do we understand? Do we get that? So now I know we've added that also in case we are lacking in that. Maybe your facility having that and we were not able to see that when we visit your site. I know you will be able to pick that from what you're saying now. So just say VR will do that. And sometimes the problem some people also have is low power factor. So there are some reasons that you can have low power factor in your facility. One of it is if you oversize your generator, you have low power factor because your generator is working at low load factor. So in that situation, the first thing is not to jump on power factor correction. If you have a lower generator, why don't you consider using lower generator and make a solution? I've been to a site before where they are having their total load on the generator is 1,000. That's the peak that they got to about 1,200 kilowatts. And then they are using 1,500 kVA and another 1,270 kVA at the same time. And when I asked them, they were like, don't you know that the generator will hold? So I now asked, have you considering synchronizing those generators together? You can synchronize it together. When this one is feeling like the load is too much, you call the other one in. But the normal operation structure is that now, what do we do? At the moment you are running 1,270 kVA generator, you are running the 1,500. So when you now check the load factor on them, on 1,500 something, you are having about 500 kVA at the time of operation. So if you say 500 divided by 1,500, that's just 30%. Running your generator at 30% is more expensive for you. You don't know. It's more expensive because for you to have generator at high efficiency, like the best form of generator, you should operate your generator between 60 and 80%. So running it at 30% will not pay you as individual. Now you are not even running 2 generators. So those are kind of things that we watch out for and we call low agri fruit that we saw in the facilities when we visited. So to the next one. So another, I said low power factor can be caused by oversizing your generator. And the other one that we cannot also, like you can have a lot of inductive load in your system, or you can have a lot of VSDs in your system. All those things also can contribute to you having low power factor. And the implication of that, some people will say, oh no, power factor is not a big issue since it is NEPA that is giving you the electricity. But when you now change to your own generator, what happens? So the problem is that your load will be forced to demand more kVA from the generator than what you need, and then you have to oversize your cable. You have to oversize a lot of things. At the long run, it doesn't pay you even when you now come back to your generator. I don't know if you understand what we are saying. So we cannot totally depend on grid, that it is only grid. What of time that you don't have grid? You know that grid is not stable in Nigeria. So you cannot say, okay, because even I found out that there are, even the distribution company, they have bands where they charge for power factor. It's just that they have not spread it across the band. So I'm seeing it that it's something that we cannot run away from over time. Over time, you'll be charged for poor power factor in your facility, because when we start blaming grid collapse, do you know that because you are taking more power than everybody is supposed to do? And imagine there have a lot of industry that are doing that. At the same time, you are taking what more than everybody is supposed to do. Grid and grid collapse. And then the next thing we say is that the government is not doing anything. But sometimes it's our fault. And many of us don't know that these are part of what is causing problem even on the national grid. So power factor is very important to consider as industries in Nigeria for our own benefit and the benefit of the national grid as well. So in such instances, when you have a lot of inductive loads like that, we have a site that we went to. In that site, they were thinking of buying about 1 megawatt generator again, because they thought their generator was not good enough. Guess what? Their power factor was very poor, as low as 0.6 power factor. So what was the recommendation in that situation? We recommended capacitor bank. So for some of us that we may be looking at, they are saying capacitor bank. What is capacitor bank? So what capacitor bank will do is that when your load is demanding more than what is necessary from the NEPA, from your source, maybe generator or NEPA, capacitor bank will be there to supply the reactive power that you would have demand from the grid. So that's the essence of the capacitor bank. So in that situation, it would have solved the problem. So these are the kind of solutions that we came around with. We noticed that in a factory also, we noticed that what they do there, they burn like hot water, the condensate from the steam. They just directed it back to the drain. You now ask question. Before you can have condensate from steam, you must have spent a lot of money. A lot of the money that easily comes to us is maybe the money that we spend on fuel or electricity at the same time. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. A minute, please. Let me just mute this. So I'm guilty of what I would have said people not to do. So please, let us not allow distraction. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is this. You see, like instances like these, when we have, we get to site like that, and then we say, okay, what is the problem in this site? We find out that in this site, this is the particular problem. So even in that facility, I was talking about a boiler, a steam system, right? You burn your water up to a particular temperature. So if I ask you how much water, how much are you wasting by wasting your condensate? The first money that you think you are wasting is the money for fuel that used to eat it up to that. But don't forget that you cannot use untreated water in your boiler for many reasons. Number one, untreated water contains some biological components in it. When it flows through it, some of them sticks on the heat exchangers. And what do? They form what we call fouling, like a kind of scale on those. So now imagine you are trying to heat up your boiler, and there is an insulator that covers the surface of your boiler. What do you expect? Before you can heat the temperature up by 1 degree C, you must have heat that scale 10 times. So what are you doing when you are heating up scales? You are not being efficient. Yeah. So basically, because you are not, what you just narrow it down is, so by not treating it well, you pay more. That's the first one. Another problem you can have in steam system is when you have oxygen level, excess, we call something excess oxygen level. With your excess oxygen level, you can know your efficiency of your boiler. So now, the problem with this is this. When you have too much of oxygen level in your exhaust, because you get that from your exhaust. You use combustion analyzer for that. We're at some facility, we do all those things. Some of us can relate. So what happens is, the excess oxygen is telling you that you're having excess air coming into the steam system. Am I communicating? So, and the fact that you're having excess air coming into it, it means you're having excess nitrogen also coming into the system. So nitrogen is about 78%. So you are heating nitrogen up and throwing it out. So when you have excess here in your boiler system, what happens? You are wasting a lot of heat through the presence of nitrogen to the atmosphere. Am I communicating? So all those things are things that we watch out for as hotspot. When you are doing all this assessment, we are there. So now the person that in his facility will now heat up water, hot water, and now throw it to the drain. You have lost energy just normal because of the normal heat you would have used, and the excess heat you have used because of impurities. You have to pay money to also clean that water to remove excess oxygen from your water that is coming in before you now go out. So you have wasted money on different source. So every time you are bringing in water into your boiler, you have to always preheat, clean those water up again before you start using them. So for you, it is not efficient at all. So what we would have done is find a way to get those condensate back. They are very hot, but you must find a way to get them back. Am I communicating? Have we learned something new? Have we not learned something new? We are quiet. Is it fasting that has caused this? Okay, let's go. So we've said a lot of things. So just to bring us back to the normal perspective of what CPA is all about, because now some of us will be asking. I know Dr. Shidipe MNI has given us more details about all this, but I would just, because he has said that, I will not speak so much on that again. So I would see that the kind of approach that we use when we came to the process, we have the UNIDO test structure. So what does this mean? It means you identify inefficiencies. See, one of the skills that you must learn as an energy auditor or an energy expert is identifying inefficiencies. It is very, very important. So how do you identify inefficiency? You must first understand the process. What is required? Now, the next thing is, are you meeting up with what is required? Or you are doing far more than what is required to get what is required? That is where inefficiency comes in. So you come through the system, you look at it and, oh, this bulb, fine, bulbs. They are giving light. That's nice. Somebody just said, one of the ways to save energy with bulbs is when it's using 18 watts, change it to 12 watts. Should that be effective enough? Should that be a good way to save energy? Am I the only one that I'm talking now? Maybe this place has turned to radio. This is not a radio station anyway. I need to remind people that I'm not. Eh? It's part of. Part of reducing energy, right? So, but if I had said that you can actually reduce the wattage of your bulb and you have not actually been efficient in your energy consumption, would I have been made something meaningful? How? How would that make sense?
Why I said it makes sense is that if you reduce it and at the same time you are not using it and you maybe leave it on for so many hours, you have still not reduced the wastage. It's still inefficient somehow. But if you leave it as at a higher voltage and if it's not in use and you decide to if it's not in use, you put it off immediately. I think it's maybe makes more sense.
You've taken us a very long way. I wasn't thinking through that way, but she's very correct. Operational control. That makes sense. But I can tell you that you can actually reduce from 18 watt and to 12 watt and you're not energy efficient. Why? There is a level of illumination that you need. So if I change this one to a lower watt bulb, 5 watts now, and I cannot see what I'm doing, am I energy efficient? I'm not energy efficient. Because the essence of being energy efficient is you are able to achieve your goal with lower energy input. So if I cannot achieve my goal, because I say I want to be stingy, so that marks the difference between being stingy and being efficient. We are not being stingy. We just want to be efficient. If I'm putting on 10 watts, am I taking equivalent resource of 10 watts from my equipment? Am I communicating now? So one of the ways to do that is you throw your locksmeter, you come here, you put your locksmeter here, you do lighting assessment. And with your lighting assessment, you can know, okay, this is the lux level of this place. What should it be by international standard? Okay, it should be 500 lumen lux that I should have here. But now I'm having 200 lux. So what's the recommendation? I can change the bulb to, it can still be 18 watts, but it will be of higher lumen capacity. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So with that, you have achieved a standard you should use in your facility without necessarily compromising. So in that situation, you are energy efficient. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. But if you want to meet up with that standard, you now go and take 25 watt bulb to give you that same thing that 18 watt bulb will give you. That means that you are not energy efficient. So energy efficiency does not speak to you reducing energy at all costs. Now we want to be energy efficient, we switch off all the ACs. They say, no, they ask us why. They say we want to be energy efficient. All right, so I identify inefficiencies. That's what I speak to that point. So you can get to a facility, the demand they can have is 500 kVA. It's not necessarily that you inconvenient everybody to reduce it to 400 kVA and say, why are you doing this? Say, excuse me, you are energy efficient. So one day, they see you on the road, they will beat you up. So, all right. So another thing is that we are tracing energy and material cost. In your facility, we've been there. We talk about how some of us have not been efficient even with our materials. Though that comes more from our RECP component, and my brother will speak more on that when he comes in. My colleague will speak more on that when he comes in. But we trace it through. We come to your facility, we look at your process line, and we see how you are doing things. And then we look at it, okay, how better way can you do it? Without necessarily wasting material, without necessarily wasting energy. Then we talk about how we are using that to pave way for ISO 50001. So if you want to manage your system, how do you manage the system you don't know? So you have to what? Manage the system. No, you have to know the system, and that's when you'll be able to manage that system. So what are the methodology that we have employed here? Number one, data collection. The first thing we did when we were coming to our site, We sent you a questionnaire. Is that true? Give us your energy consumption. Give us your production data. Am I the only one that remembers that? Do I have witness here? It seems those that we came to their facilities are not here today. They are here. Okay. If you are here and we come to your facility, wave your hand. Let me see. Please, let's give more vibes in this place. Please give them a round of applause. Some of us don't go to. All right, let's continue. Don't let me. So the next thing we do is site visits. When you site and we work with your team members, and then we show you the inefficiencies. And then the next thing that we did was we start reading. We check some meters. Okay, what is going on? And some meters, we noticed that those meters are not good for giving us feedback. Voltage is still 110. Come what may, the thing refused to change. You know that was a problem, right? And then we recommended submetering for some places. Submetering is necessary if you have significant energy uses and you want to monitor how energy is being used with them. Just like key performance index. So submetering will be there to make you know when somebody is, let's say for example, you pick it on your compressor and at the same time you check your data and you see that, compressor, this thing consumes more energy. You want to find out why is your compressor consuming. So what do you think will make your compressor consume energy? Maybe because the heat around, like the exhaust heat that is coming out from that hot part of your compressor is being short-circuited into the inlet of your compressor. Why? Because compressor needs cooler air to be able to have a good compression ratio. So now what do? You have to heat it up to a very high temperature, so the lower it is, it will reduce your compression a little bit. Some other things is leaks. Major problem in compressor system, leaks. So, why am I achieving this? So you now start crossing your T's and dotting your I's to find out where the problem is. So, yes, the next thing, then interview. Why is interview necessary? If I come to your facility for 5 days, I cannot still know how your steam system works like you that you are working on it. Am I correct? If I come to your facility for 5 days, I cannot tell you how your chiller works. Now think of it. I've not only come for chiller, I've come for lighting, I've come for chiller, I've come for compressed air system, I've come for steam, a production machine, and I'm just there for 5 days, and you expect me to know everything about how it works? It's not possible. So by interview, you will tell me somehow how it works. And I will try to spot how it has not been efficient. So in energy auditing, you cannot joke with interview. All right, so then the assessment mapping, or something we can call energy and resource flow. You want to know, some call it energy balance. You want to know how energy comes, how it's distributed, and then that will help you to visualize where the inefficiency is coming from. Then we talk about opportunity identification, and most likely, in most cases, some of these energy saving opportunities that we are giving, they have low payback, sometimes of less than 1 year. So if you're having low payback of less than 1 year, what do you expect? It's something you can invest in, because if you not invest in it, what you are spending that you can get back in 1 year will consume more money than you spend for maybe 10 years. So, does it pay you to be inefficient? Of course, no. So the next thing we talk about, UNIDO tool and software. The other time when we're talking about some of the first phase of this project, a tool was introduced to us by UNIDO tool, where we are giving how we can implement energy management system as so 2001. How many of us still remember that too? Hey, those that were in those, So you remember? Like a Excel spreadsheet like this, where you just put all those things. So yes, it has it in all the plan, how to do components, your commitment of leadership. Because let me be frank with you. One of the enemy of progress is the ignorance of the top management. If they don't know, nobody will support your decision. You are saying, oh, we have to reduce it. Excuse me, what's your energy con? What is your energy con? We have our money, excuse me. So that's the problem. So, oh, you want to share an experience? Huh, time is almost running off. Okay, please, quickly.
It happened just 2 weeks ago. I was in an industry in Edu to market training on HSC. So in the course of the discussion, I was discussing with the energy manager so that we do a walk around in the industry. So I discovered that most of the gadgets they were using there, they are not energy efficient gadgets. So I was advising him that why don't you guys just switch to energy efficient gadgets? You are spending so much on energy by all this. You know what he told me? He said he had always been telling the MD about that, but the MD always told him that let's increase production. That if you increase production, we'll make more money to be able to pay off those excess.
That is a very serious issue. Okay, okay, all right.
Sorry, I actually want to add to what he said. Being someone in the face of, in my own organization, I've been the one driving the energy efficiency, the resource. I've been the one driving it basically. And for you to drive it in an organization where the top management, the executives, the C-suits, where they are not too conversant with this, you have to do a lot of convincing, a lot of arguments. And you have to be good at what you are arguing before you can actually do that. So I just wanted to say.
Thank you for that. Spot on. But I just have just a little question for that. Let's say MD's younger brother is the one that is supplying fuel to the company. And you are talking about how you will reduce the fuel consumption, right? Right? Okay, let's continue. I don't want to finish that. Okay, so, part of things, so things I just want us to note, it has been captured earlier. So we did for 4 zones for the 2 industries, and then these are the sectors that were covered. Then between those space of the second quarter to the fourth quarter of last year, we did that. So think where we function, where we look at majorly, I've talked about the steam system, the steam process, the thermal system, then the motor system. Motor system, yes. Belts that are not well aligned, low efficiency motors, when you have many of them, it's a lot. So, then we talk about the electrical system, demand system. That's when I talk about something about the power factor and some of those things. Then compressed air system, leaks, and lighting. So we've almost touched all this. So these are the kind of things. Of course, you have all this to yourself. You can always look at them later and get more about them. But the data gap is always a problem. It is always a problem. I can tell you for sure that when you go for energy audit, one of the major problems of any enemy of growth you can find on the field is inaccurate data. Please try to explain to me if I am in your facility or you are in a facility and the person tells you that from January to December, he has been consuming 200 kilowatts every month. 200 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts, 200. Even in our house, we cannot have that. It's not possible. You cannot have the same value. So it means in that kind of facility, there is a problem with data. Maybe somebody that is buying the electricity bill is not ready to let you see the electricity bill because of the markup or something. Something is happening there. So accuracy, that data gap is always a problem. So if I now want to advise you based on the data I have, I'll be advising you based on wrong data. So that's it. So because of our time, I just quickly want to talk about our key observations too. So in Kano and Anambra, for example, one of the major challenges that we found there is that they have grid problem. Abuja, some places have, but not that common. But the problem with Abuja basically during the time that we visited Abuja is sometimes number one, data presentation, like the data that was presented to us. We had a lot of problem with that. At least we can work on that. Submetering is good. If you have submetering will make it easy for you. There are some loggers that you can have instead of meters, loggers, that anytime you go there, you can just download those data. It will give you hourly consumption. Some loggers, you don't even have to go there on your phone. You can know what is going on there. You can know the maximum power. So when you know that this thing is bringing up unnecessary problem to your facility, you can always trace the problem. Maybe because of old age of the equipment or something, just bring spike and the generator goes off. And you are looking at one devil that switch off the generator and you can't find. And later you still say, okay, let's go and on it again. The generator keep working, and then still go off again. And they say, the generator is too small. So what else do they go to do? Go and get a bigger generator. And that is not solving the problem. So, then overall, integrating high EE, that's the thing. Because the goal of it is that we don't want to misuse the energy component so that we don't have emissions in the atmosphere. So you have to integrate it in your facility. So then these are also some of the things that we found in compressed air. We know compressed air take about the 25% of in the analysis that we found. Compressed air, they are like they contribute 25% of the losses that we see is from compressed air. Then steam also, then lighting. Then we have electric motors. We have in the electric motor we have a lot of industries that already are on IE3 electric motors. So that's a good one. We applaud the facilities for that. So in case I'm not talking about all the good things that we have done, pardon me, it's not as if you don't do any good things. There are a lot of good things. We got to some facilities. We saw daylight harvesting. Very nice. We saw some people they have very good ventilation. Compressed air not choked. I've been to a facility before where we have compressed air and chillers fighting in the in the same room. How? One needs cold air. The other one is giving out hot air. How? So being efficient. So then saving potentials, we could have up to about 25% of energy reduction. Then the next the problem, part of what I've just I've spoken about before, data, lack of awareness, no clear accountability, no one person that is accountable for this. I think in my company we had that problem before. My boss will give an instruction, and after he gives the instruction, he will describe the situation very well. Everybody, you have to do this, everybody do this, everybody do that. Guess what? After 1 week, when he asks about that thing, who is doing it? Nobody's doing it. Nobody's responsible. So the next thing you have to do is make somebody responsible for it. Responsibility. So then maintenance practices, then conclusion, technology alone is not enough. We need a system. A system. And when you say system, it involves even human being, not just equipment. If I buy energy efficient bulb, it is not the bulb itself that some people will go and bypass the control, something that I want to put it on by force. It's human being. So it should be a system. It should be in our mind. It should be in our processes. So then that's it. Basically, then we talk about the plan, do, act. I know we are familiar with this. This how you plan, and of course, your planning, your management will be involved, like we have said. And then you do, you implement, and then you check again, and then you act again, and then you keep going. So beyond compliance, you have to add value. So the thing is not like we are coming to your facility now to say, oh, be environmental compliance. No, it's not all about that. Add value. Let's see it from the perspective that you're also adding value. See it from the perspective that you are reducing energy. See, let me tell you the truth. Me as a person, when I go to sites, normally, I don't leave the site in a hurry. I derive joy in reducing energy consumption. So it's value. Let's find it. good. If we reduce it, it will help you. See, even if your boss don't know that you are doing that work, the day you leave that company, give him 3 years, he will beg you to come back. Because what you are doing is doing more than what the next person. If, for example, somebody is spending 1 million naira, you are spending 1 million naira on maintaining this, and then you have to leave because maybe your boss feel like, well, any other person can do it, and then you left, and in the first year, the boss spent 7 million. Second year, I know. The third year, I would consider, where do you say you are again? So we have to be. So because of our time, so um, these are the things that, what are now the next step of all these things? So use these findings to have energy performance indicator for your facility. Energy performance indicators. That will help you to know where you are compared to other people all over the world. Do we understand? So, okay. So, and the policy makers, though they are not here, but, I cannot say they are not totally here, but because my bosses are here. Oh, we are here. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for correcting me. So, we need to work more on our policies. I cannot just point to my bosses and say, my boss, you have to do this, but they have to just hear that you have to work on our policy. Just do like you don't hear what I'm saying, but hear it somewhere that we have to work on our policies. So, and also, we, for industries, measure and install submitters, track and all this. Don't worry, you don't need to snap. You have all these sliding materials. You have the slides. So for company, you have to train. You have to start now. Don't procrastinate. You are not doing us favor when you do it. You are doing yourself favor. A man in Kano, the day we did analysis for him, and he saw that he is losing over 50 million naira because of inefficiency in the system. There, he was saying he will sack that man. There, on the spot. So sometimes because we don't count the loss, we don't quantify it, we don't know how much we are losing. So, and we need to grow beyond that. So call for action. The CPA has shown us what to do. ISO 15 tells us how to continue. Then let us do this together. The question, should we treat it as one-off or what we can do later? And with that, we've come to the end of the section. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we give him another round of applause as we quickly welcome Mr. Dubem for the second part of this session. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Chukwu Dubem. I'm representing Hospitalia Consultaire. Hospital Consultaire, the national consultant for RECP for the project. Today we're talking about, for this National Sensitization Workshop, we're focusing on ISO 14001, but more importantly on how cleaner production and RECP assessments provide the practical foundation for ISO 14001 implementation in Nigerian industries. So, for this workshop, the objectives, it has 4 clear objectives. First, to share findings from RECP assessments carried out across the different regions that we have visited. Second, to sensitize participants on ISO 14001 requirements. Third, to demonstrate how RECP naturally progresses into an environmental management system. And finally, to provide actionable pathways, whether your organization is just starting or already advanced. So this presentation is not an enforcement audit. We're not trying to name or shame any company. We've purposely not put names in the presentation, but it's just for us to learn from data that we've collected as we've gone across the country and helping the industry prepare proactively. So again, the assessment, I think Dr. Shidipe or Bafemi, I think they've covered this, so I'm just going to glance through it quickly. We covered more than 21 facilities, I think 42, if I'm not wrong, across the country in 4 different zones. Northwest, Kano, North Central, Abuja, or FCT. Southwest, Lagos/Ogun. And in the southeast, Anambra, especially Onitsha and Oka. So, although these sectors differ, the patterns are remarkably similar. This just told us that most challenges are systemic, not sector specific. Again, I've listed the 5 sectors that we have visited in the zones. So across almost every facility, we observe the same 5 universal challenges. These issues cut across geography, again zones, size of the factory, and ownership structure. The 5 universal challenges, the first one was labeling and segregation. Approximately 90% of the companies visited had no labeling system. The recycled materials were also not labeled, and they had different materials stored together. The second finding was that 5% of the companies have very poor housekeeping, cluttered workspaces, and equipment on the floor that cause trip hazards/spills. The third finding, which is under material losses, that so many factories, especially plastic production, when I say plastic, I mean whether it's plastic containers or plastic mats, they had a lot of spillage on the floor. Even grain companies that use grain in their manufacturing process or as raw materials, they had a lot of spillage on floors, damaged bags were accepted, and losses were not quantified. Third one, data collection. A lot of them do not have water meters or even information on the amount of energy they have used, whether it's from the AEDC, AEDC is for Abuja, the distribution company of the state, or their generator usage, so how much diesel they use, and so on. And finally, PPE and safety. There was no PPE enforcement, non-functional extractor fans, and chemical storage risks. So one of the simplest but most impactful findings was poor labeling and segregation. From the list before this, you see was the first one. Many facilities operated with the mindset, we know what it is. So you go into a factory and they'll say, like we can see on the picture, they'll say, oh, they know this chemical is, let me just say rice, if we're in an agro-processing company. But from findings, we brought in, let's say, the what's the word? The staff that work, the people that work on the processing line, because this is just the storage. And we asked, beside the storage facility manager, people to come in and say, do you know what this is? Most of them don't know what it is. And this can cause issues. They can just come, oh, they say maybe they're all in white bags. And they just go there and take the one white bag and go and pour. And that already can cause so many issues. It can cause downtime. It can even cause faulty equipment. So, but if we can name these things, label them, and date it, maybe the day it comes in or the day it was opened, we'll be able to manage it better. Simple things like color coding and date stickers alone can deliver up to 80% improvement at almost zero cost. From the pictures, we can see two different factories. One is a chemical storage. The other one is just a raw material, one of their raw material warehouses. Let's note that good housekeeping practices in all sections can save the company approximately 3 to 5% of cost at minimum. From this presentation, the calculations we have done here is minimum because we could not get very exact findings because we were there in each facility maybe for a day. So at minimum, this is the amount it can save. Poor housekeeping was one of the most common findings. We saw cluttered floors, loose panels, tangled pipes, unsafe walkways, conditions that directly increase material loss, accidents, downtime, and non-compliance, as I just said before. And one of the factories, a wood and furniture factory, good housekeeping alone, from what we calculated, it's about 8%, separate from what they already, this is not waste. This is just, what do we call it, non-product output, right? If I remember clearly, for those that were here, I think late last year or mid last year. With regards to material losses, I decided to use case studies from our findings. The first one is an industry, and we're just using the maize miller. It's an agro-processing industry. We calculated that at a minimum, like I just said, the damaged bags that were received from supplier or damaged during translocation, they were losing at a minimum, 2 bags a day. From the price they gave us on how much they buy a bag of the whole maize, annually they were losing approximately 25 million naira. From their brand, this is the same factory. From the brand floor sweeping on the floor, we calculated, we tried to pack together, bring it together and pack it. And we calculated from what we packed as we were there alone. That was in the morning. So they had cleaned before. So this is just from work that morning. In a year, they'll be losing almost 3 million naira at minimum. And again, from the blowers, from the main maize dust blowers, approximately 5. So in total, estimated loss at a minimum was approximately 34 million, let me call it that, a year. And this is admin. We haven't checked, we haven't been there again to know, or went there before that to know, or in the evening to know at the end of the day. Because most of these companies just pack all this and discard it. It's not, they don't try to recover it in any way. Some of them would send it to farmers that maybe do pig farming or that can use some of these products, but the rest of them just discard it. Next one was a plastic mat production. You can see the picture. One is the storage of their materials, and the other one is where, so the water that cools the product, there was no net, so the pellets and everything was going directly into the water, and this also goes into the environment because they just drain it, no treatment, nothing, because they say, oh, they sieved it, but the pipes were that, the mesh they put, there was more than one, I think I should put more than one picture here. There was more than one outlet from the factory. One had a net that was damaged, the other one didn't have a net at all. And the picture doesn't do it justice. If you look, you can see pellets, kind of, but I think it's better on my system than on the screen. You can see pellets in the water, which they just release. The third case study on material loss, another factory, they produce water and also plastics. This picture shows their water treatment facility. The water is treated here, and they're losing about 432,000 liters monthly from what we calculated. This one, the tank was leaking, and this pipe was leaking in 3 different positions. And this is, in this part, I'm only talking about the water leaking, amount of water. But this water is treated. So they have used energy to treat this water. And it's just wasting there. They're constantly pumping and treating and just letting it waste like that. This slide then captures one of our biggest barriers to ISO 14001 certification in Nigeria, lack of data. In almost 90% of the companies we visited, a lot of them do not have water meters, no waste weighing, no production tracking. But an ISO 14001 begins with measurements. You don't need any software. You just need 1 meter, 1 notebook, 1 responsible person, whether it's daily or weekly, because you need to be able to track your improvements. Sorry, these slides will be shared later, so I'm just trying to kill off time. I'm just trying to move. Environmental management and safety on this fifth one are inseparable. Inadequate PPE use not only violates ISO 14001 requirements, but it also exposes companies to accidents, shutdowns, and legal risks. These are just, why I'm skipping this is because these are just findings from different companies. They're random in different zones. Just, oh, no workers wearing PPE in this particular section, critical, and all that. We can look at that later. Now I'm going to go into sector deep dives. It just shows that losses occur at every stage. Raw materials, process, utilities, and waste handling. Importantly, many solutions are low cost and immediately implementable. Like you can use drop trays if you're losing raw materials from your equipment. You can use bag sealers to help you seal the bags properly if you want to resell them for recycle purposes, or use them for recycle purposes, or resell them, rather than just tying them and not tying them properly. Again, from this you can see the common issues. Different companies. This is from one company. They were losing 15 bags a week during offloading. So this is just from the carelessness of their staff moving the bags from the lorry or the truck into the warehouse. The damaged bags are accepted from suppliers. So in this case, some bags came damaged, and rather than returning it back to the suppliers, they accept it like that, and then it's just wasting. As they're carrying it as it's stored, it's just wasting. Again, poor storage condition causes spoilage. The process line, we saw grain leakages from machines. That's mainly due to maintenance, dust loss from blowers, steam leaks, and finally wastes. They were not fully valorized. Wastewater untreated, just released into the environment. And no water meters anywhere, considering they use a lot of water. So these are plastic manufacturing companies, 4 different plastic manufacturing companies. And this is just to show what I was trying to say about the issues are cross-cutting. These are 4 different plastic manufacturing companies. And these issues, besides the last one, were pretty much the same. Pellet spillage, open such unsealed bags, no labeling in the factories. The only difference with some of the first and the third one is particulate matter. Even though it's not as bad as other factories that we visited, to be honest. Again, plastics continued. This is just it's a case from a textile leather company. I guess we can read this later. This is more calculations from a wood furniture factory. This is from an electric cable factory, the recycling factory in Onitsha. I guess we can read that later. Positive exceptions, what's working? Some facilities, that's why I said 90%. I don't want it to be like every single factory we went to was bad. Some facilities were doing well. What separates them is not money. It is management commitment, accountability, simplicity, and consistency. Systems that work are usually simple systems. Like, let me use the Abuja example, like in Tawada, using natural light utilization, neat arrangement, and so on. Again, we can read this later at our own free time. So with regards to this side, I just want to make it clear that this is not waste. This is lost profits. This is money from, this is lost profit. When the waste, the losses were quantified, the numbers are significant and preventable. So a lot of this slide is just to show examples as case studies on what is happening. It's not like we went online and just got a random case. in Nigeria here. So RECP gives you the technical foundation. ISO 14001 institutionalizes it through a plan, do, check, act. Without RECP, ISO 14001 becomes paperwork. Without ISO 14001, RECP improvements fade away. So here, the first stage is the cleaner production assessment, which we have done. Here we identify hotspots and quick wins. Then the second step is to document, systemize, and institutionalize. And finally, continuous improvement is more like an MEL, monitoring, evaluation, and learning. It's a continuous process. It never stops. ISO 14001 is not about documents. It is about control, aspects, and impacts. For those that remember last year's training or the year before, even long before that, aspects and impacts. Operational control, monitoring, competence, emergency preparedness. So it follows these requirements. The organization must develop an effective system that meets the requirements of the standard. It must document, implement, and maintain the system. The EMS needs to be documented. I repeated that for a reason. Then thirdly, follow a plan, do, check, act approach. Plan. You establish the objectives and processes needed to deliver the results. Do, implement the needed processes of the EMS. Check the processes against the policy objectives. And act, take actions that will continually improve the EMS. Sorry. So aspect and impact, this is just an example, just a reminder of what we did or what we've been doing, like the classwork we've been doing in the past. Trying to understand environmental aspects and impacts. So now we're bringing it, not just creating scenarios. Now this is examples from our findings. Storing, the activity here is storing charcoal powder. The aspect, dust generation. Impact, air pollution, and adverse effects on worker health. Significance here is high, so this could be read later. It's just a quick reminder or try to relate what we have done in the past to current realities. This is the same thing. Talk about requirements. So ISO 14001 certification is impossible without leadership environment. Without leadership involvement. Environmental management cannot be delegated and forgotten. Top management must review performance, above actions, and drive improvements. ISO 14001 clause 9.3 says that top management must review the EMS at planned intervals to ensure continued suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness. So the key message from this whole slide is that ISO 14001 certification is impossible without engaging the leadership. It cannot be delegated. If the top management is not involved in it, it's not going to happen. Whether your facility is just starting, already advanced, the path forward is clear and realistic. In 6 months, you should see data, trained staff, visible improvements, and management attention. The certification is just a milestone, it's not the destination. So the first step for facilities we know EMS is to ensure they document their procedures. Second step is to ensure they have environmental data, good environmental data. Thirdly, they have to specify the environmental health safety rules in their facility. So this is just, we can read this later, this is just to show different parts of the ISO 40001 clauses, and we can read later to understand it better. So your pathway in the next 12 to 8 months. Phase 1, gap analysis. The key activities in this phase involve compare current practices to ISO 14001 requirements. Are you doing good or are you not? Phase 2, documentation, very important. One of the most important things to implementing ISO 14001 or RECP is documented or data collection. If you have no data, you cannot check whether you're doing good or bad. If you are using 500, 500, 500 liters of diesel this month, and or let's say we come to your facility and we ask for that information and you just write 500, 500 even though you know you were not using 500, 500, 500 liters each month, it doesn't help with your improvement because we're just going to take your values and try to give a solution to that. But what you have given us is wrong information. But if you're collecting maybe in this month there was 380, we won't ask those questions. Or why was it low this month? Maybe transformer was down, or in this month we implemented PV solar system, which made us reduce our reliance on either diesel or the national grid. Phase 3, implementation. Phase 4, management review. 6, 7, 8. All this could be read later. I just don't want to keep keeping us here. So common barriers in Nigeria and realistic solutions to overcome them. Nigerian industries face real constraints: power, finance, and skills. But the solutions are equally realistic. Phased implementation, simple tools, internal capacity building, and external support. Like, I'll use the first line as an example, the barrier. ISO 14001 is too expensive. The reality, certification costs 2 to 5 million or more for large firms. Solution, start with RECP. Build the system gradually. A lot of companies assume that to implement it, you have to do everything all at once. You can start with just generally training of your staff, or you decide you want to train your staff and ensuring that they're all using their PPE. Let's say that's your first step. The second one, housekeeping practices. Ensure, oh, this is okay. Or if people leave this room, there's nothing happening in this room as they leave. They switch off the lights. The little things. The more financially or finance intensive things come later on. Resource and support. In case we have any issues or questions we want to ask with regarding to some of these situations, whether it's ISO 50001 or 14001, one, you can speak to the PMU man. You can also speak to VOI, SON, Nesria, Smedan. They all have information on this, or the private consultants too. So a call to action. From just 6 companies, we identified over 49 million naira in annual preventable losses. ISO 14001 is clearly not a burden, rather it will help you improve your system better. It's just a management tool that reduces costs, control risk, and improves competitiveness for all participants. So you need to commit to it, discuss this workshop with your management or the workshops in the past with your management, and secure their visible leadership commitments. Then start. Don't wait to perfect conditions. Begin with one machine, one product line, one store, warehouse. Measure. Install 1 meter. Weigh waste for 1 week. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Train. Share one finding from today with your team. Document. Create a single folder for your environmental records. And for facilities that feel, oh, they're ready, you can compare your current system to ISO 14001 requirements. You can develop a realistic timeline with milestones. And finally, you can engage contact certification bodies for quotes and timelines. Closing thoughts. The challenge. Nigerian industries face intense competition, high cost, and increasing environmental expectations, as we all know. But the reality is, this assessment revealed a lot of money is being lost. Using just 6 companies, there's a lot more information, but we, like Opafemi had said, we cannot cover the 42 companies here. Each of them has about 12 slides alone that would be here for at least 2 or 3 hours. Losses that are entirely preventable, like the pellets on the floor. If a bag is damaged and comes into your facility, why are you accepting it? It came from the supplier damage. So it shouldn't be you that should handle that loss. It came in damage, your quality assurance person say, oh, this came in like this. Please, we are not accepting this. Or you speak to supplier, if this comes like this again, we will not accept it. Identify and control your environmental risks. reduce costs through efficiency, just like I had mentioned, demonstrate responsibility to customers, communities, and regulators, build a culture of continuous improvements. Finally, just to end, it's just pictures. Dr. Shiripe has already done that of some of the facilities we visited. I don't know why it's not going next. It's not moving. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Um, can we give him another round of applause, please? Okay, so in the next 10 seconds, I'd like us to stand up and stretch. We've been sitting for a while. It's supposed to be an interactive session, but we will collapse it into the question and answer session. So coming up next, are we stretching? Yes, please. Let's stretch. Uh-huh. Thank you very much, and we can have our seats again. Thank you. So we will take the next session um, facilitated by the expert from SON, that's sensitization on ISO 5001 and ISO 1401. That's what we'll do. So that we'll take the interactive session and the Q&A session together to make the most use of our time. So can we put our hands together as I invite engineer IA Lawal to take the next session. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes up. Okay. So we have a 5 minutes while we get that together. I think we can walk around this time, get to meet people, reconnect. So let's do that. Just have a 5-minute break. Okay.
Maybe I have to come up again. You know, during the process of CPA, we signed a non-disclosable agreement, and we promised that we are not going to expose any of our findings. What we are doing here today is not exposure. We want others that these CPAs do not reach them to know what CPA is all about. That is why we are giving these examples. And from the beginning, to get industries or companies to sign into CPA was a tug of war, because people do not want others to know what they are doing in their environment. But at the end of the day, we were able to get 42 companies. And to God's glory, I think those 42 companies will know what they benefit from the exercise. Even after this project, we are still trusting God that other sectors that are not covered under this project will also be covered. And what we are doing here today is not just about the project itself alone. When you look at the ISO 50001, ISO 14001, you can liken it to AI, because there is nothing you will do today that you would not refer to those two standards. So we believe that those of us that are here today will carry the news back to the industry, back to your facility, so that the effect of these standards will be more felt with the company. And the next speaker is also going to dwell on the importance of these ISOs to production and to the environment. Thank you.
Okay, so while we wait for our next speaker, we're just having a bit of a glitch. Um, I'd like us to quickly do an exercise. Can we bring out our phones, please? Can we bring out our phones, please? It's just a quick exercise, don't worry, nothing. And open whatever app we use to scan QR codes.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and all protocols duly observed. I'm Engineer Lawal from Standards Organization of Nigeria. And just to create an awareness on ISO 50001, and the other is ISO 14001. 50001 is the Energy Management System Standard, and the other one is Environmental Management System Standard. And so I'm not going to details of the standards, just to create awareness as well. So, okay, that's just the table. Not too much interested in that. Of course, we all know what is energy. So the ability to do work. So this is just a definition, and these are the various sources of energy that we are very much familiar with: solar, wind, hydro, biomass, geothermal, nuclear. So these are pictures for us to really get familiar. So this is hydro. This is nuclear power system. And so these are the interesting part of it. 60% of the country's population has no access to grid electricity. Those who even have the access, that is the 40% that you can, so we still experience epileptic power supply. And so most times they do what is referred to as load shedding, which is the rationing of electricity supply. And so today's on-grid power generation capacity in Nigeria is dominated by natural gas, followed by the hydro, which is 14% capacity of energy generated in Nigeria. So we have several government policies. My other gentleman did not want to talk about policies. So I think I'm from the government. Let's talk a little about policy. We've had several policies in the past, and you can bear witness. We have had Nigeria's 3030, Vision this, Vision that, and so many of them. This has to do Vision 3030, that by 2030, we should be having a mix of targets of the grid, we have renewable energy and other sources of energy, so that we don't depend on our gas supply. So most times you have shortage, so we need to diversify, we need to move to other sources of energy, and today in vogue is the renewable energy, solar, and the rest, windmill. And so National Renewable Energy Action Plan, this one was far back 2016. We also have under this, we have on-grid. Part of this is expected that we are to generate 5.3 gigawatts under renewable energy. by 2020 and 13.8 gigawatt installed capacity by 2030. These are the policies of government, and by that we should be able to have up to 50 tetrawatts per year of the grid electricity by 2030. And so representing 30% share of generation and 45% share of installed capacity. Also, by the renewable energy supposed to be 25% by 2030, and we are to have, by 2030, we should have 40% renewable energy. These are government policies and targets for 2020 so that we don't depend too much on gas, so that we'll be able to use our gas for other things. And so, the economic consequences of climate change, because of all the, we talk about gas emission and the rest, we want to protect the environment. We also want to manage and conserve the small electricity we're able to generate. So by diversifying into renewable energy, we should be able to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide to the environment, to all the various sources of pollution. Because when we depend too much on the gas or the thermal or petrol, the diesel, means you will begin to, you will still continue to generate more carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and polluting the environment. And want to, as much as possible, the world is, due to climate change, industrialization, many of you, we use diesel, and most times it affects the environment, it affects the climate. There is this ozone layer is also affected. The ozone layer protects us from ultraviolet rays of the sunlight that causes cancers and other diseases. And so we need to reduce carbon emission, and by the government policies, we need to move far. We try to reduce our dependency on diesel and gas energy production. And of course, the health effects of all these activities in industries. As we grow our industries, we need to, as much as possible, to reduce all the gas emission and our energy consumption. We should be able to manage energy efficiently and effectively. For instance, like the first speaker talked about energy management. What is the lumen, what the illumination that you require within a specific room size, and how do you manage the energy? What are the sources? Is it the LED you want to use? You need to use energy saving bulbs and all the rest. Likewise, your cooling system. What is the level of cooling that is required? Do you need, how many ACs do you actually need to provide you this cooling system? Not a situation whereby you just have, for instance, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Under normalcy, they need to do a kind of assessment to really know what is the cooling level that is being required, and to provide, instead of maybe 5, 6 standing air condition at the same time, we will probably not need more than 2 or 3 that will give us that cooling effect. But most times we don't do all this calculation. We end up providing more than excess. We end up wasting money. We end up wasting energy and resources. So this is what all of us need to go back to our various industries, do this assessment, engage. Well, let me give a job to my brothers, engage consultants, and let them come and give them this small money. But in the long run, you saw the losses, millions and billions of naira that is being, wasted. That under normalcy, you should be able to conserve this money and add it to your business to grow, and that will automatically create jobs for our young graduates. So the cost of energy and the environmental effect are very high. Hence, we need the need for energy management and environmental protection. And so with this pictorial, you can see we want to, energy security, we want to, as much as possible, manage, and we don't want to waste our energy. Also want to save bills that we incur we pay NEPA so much now, particularly most industries are on band A, and you know how much you pay to NEPA. So if you're able to reduce your energy consumption, it means you pay less. And so, of course, when you pay less and you grow your business, you employ more people. So you're also contributing to reducing unemployment rate, emission reduction, like we have said. Also, the earth effects, because when you don't manage all this, at the long run, all of us will bear the consequence. When the environment is polluted, we all suffer for it. And next is the poverty elevation. Of course, if you're able to manage well economically, it will be better for all of us. Air quality that will bring down the resource efficiency. And so, these are just a technical energy efficiency calculation. What is the useful energy and the total energy that you are actually generating? Maybe generating as much as that they cannot manage or they can't be in Nigeria, they can't sustain the energy consumption. And it has happened to many of them. Dunlop left, Michelin left, so many of them left. So under normalcy, maybe if they have been able to do some adjustment or some assessment, they will have been able to see where they are wasting those energy and see reason why they don't need to leave Nigeria. Of course, some of the reasons why we have to manage the small energy that we have is also our infrastructure management. Many times we hear about grid collapse. I think it happened even recently. It happened again. And so the Discos and Gencos, many of them, they are just after money, money, money. They don't maintain all these infrastructures. So the small energy they can generate, they don't even care who gets it. The highest bidder. Many times I know some of us will have to go to NEPA office and go and bribe, so that they can give you special line. They don't tamper with it. You pay, especially for that special line that from the factory or from the station, generating station or the switch yard straight to your factory. And you have to pay for it. It's supposed at times 5 times 10 of the normal money you're supposed to pay. But you don't need to go all this mile. All you just need to do is to, get your expert or engage a consultant to do the needful for you. And so let's come the energy management that we're talking about. This standard is universal. And this is applicable. The whole world is using it. It's not only Nigeria. ISO is the International Organization for Standardization. So Nigeria is also represented by Standards Organization of Nigeria. We're always there every year, to discuss way forward. And in fact, this one, I think very soon, every 5 years, 6 years, they review. New ones will come up. The new one is already out. So with time, there will be transition. That of the environmental ISO 14001. The new version is out. The last one, the one we are using currently, is 2015. So, which is more than how many years now? So they have completed the review. Very soon you see the new version, and every industries will need to do a transition course to update and upgrade to the next level. And so, like we have said, whatever you see here in this standard, it's the same thing anywhere. It is applicable to any manufacturing sector. It is generic. It's not only peculiar to one particular sector or the other. And like I said, Standards Organization of Nigeria, where we represent you, we represent the country, and we are also accredited. We run these courses for various industries, certification. Many companies, manufacturers are already certified to ISO 14001. Very few, in fact, 5% to ISO 50001. So many of you are yet to get this certification. About 20% under our environmental management system, which is the ISO 14000. I think we have more awareness on that. But the energy, we still have very few companies currently that are certified to ISO 50001. So we need more of you to come on board. It's very important because we realize that the industries, we need to, get this awareness. We need to key into it, be able to manage our industries. Many times you complain so much about energy consumption. In fact, it's one of the biggest problem of our survival is energy. And yesterday when they launched the industrial plan, Nigeria industrial plan by the federal government, it was launched. Alhaji Aliko Dangote came out and said something and told specifically, he directed his statement to the vice president that they need to tackle the problem of energy. Otherwise, the whole plan and policies will not work. This man said this yesterday here in Abuja. So the issue of energy is very, very important. So you as manufacturers, for you to survive, you need to come and get your system certified to ISO 50001. Come to Standards Organization of Nigeria. So we'll educate you more, and we provide what is necessary. You pay a little stipend, and you get this certification, and you smile at the end of the day. At the time you implement the 50,001 and the environmental 14,000, you see the impact, you see the benefit. And I think at the end of the day, you thank SON. So they have explained all what is necessary. The plan do check act. You implement, after doing your, identifying the gap, you do an assessment audit. Then you plan to, clear all the non-conformities and close out, do a root cause analysis. For every non-conformity, you need to do a root cause analysis. Don't rush to just do corrective action. It's just this water is supposed to be inside the fridge. When you come into your house, you find this water on the table. Or let me, for instance, use a very good example. Your special wine that you normally take weekend to relax. You used to keep it in the fridge or somewhere, and suddenly you find it on the table. Maybe one of your kids, the stubborn one, has decided to take a sip of it, and you just do not bother. The next thing is just carry the thing, return it back into the fridge. You didn't do a root cause analysis. How did this thing get to in the first place? So you have ended up only doing corrective action. You have not solved the problem. So most times we do corrective action. We don't do root cause analysis. It's only when you do cause analysis that you get to the root of the matter and you be able to tackle it and solve the problem once and for all. So when you do your plan, after doing the assessment, you check whatever plan or corrective actions that you have put in place to see whether you're actually getting the right answer, whether you through your performance indicator, and of course, you don't do only one audit, you continue to do audit maybe once in a year or twice in a year, depending on how you feel or depending on how big or complex your system. And with that, do your management review, you take action where necessary, and you continue to set targets. You shift the goalpost again, you set the target 20% this year, 30% next year, 50% until you get to 100%. And so adopting and implementing the ISO 50001 standard, of course, it will save costs, it will reduce your energy wastage, it will minimize risks, increase production, increase your revenue, create more jobs, economic improvement, protect the environment, and so on and so forth. So rather than make ISO 50001 standard, it is rather you make it a must than voluntary. Because one problem is that this standard is not compulsory. It's not like product standard. We have two types of standard. We have voluntary standards. We have product standards. In Nigeria, all product standards are mandatory, compulsory that you must comply. The standard for table water, for instance, you must comply. You see our logo on it for those ones we have certified. The standard for this, the standard for anything product. But when it comes to system certification, it is voluntary. Like this one, it's a system standard. It's not product standard. So it's voluntary. But I will employ you if you really want to remain in business and you want to continue to grow, to take it as a mandatory, standard for your own self. Don't make it an option. Don't make it voluntary if I like. A choice is whether I like it or not. You can't force me. Yes, nobody can force you. But tomorrow, tomorrow will tell you may not remain in business in the future if care is not taken. So that is that. This is the first part. I have two slides. Presentation. The second one is on environment. Is this Clara? Okay. I think I'm saying. All right. Okay. Is it the one? No, this is, I'm starting afresh. Yes. This is for environment. Yeah. Yes, okay, you can continue from here. No problem. And so now for the environment, I've mentioned a bit of it. At least I've used that to answer my brother who asked what is the linkage or interaction between energy and environment. In the course of generating energy, we have talked about emission, all those things that will affect the environment. So the two standards are interwoven. When you treat the other one, you automatically enter into environment. And so the basis of environmental management system standard is just environmental control, environmental protection. And like I said, the ISO is international. The same standard we have here is what is obtainable anywhere in the world. It's not as if this one is Nigeria standard. It's not Nigerian standard. It's the same thing everywhere. It's world standard, and it's the same standard we are also applying here in Nigeria. So, okay, that is the headquarters of ISO. It's in Geneva, Switzerland. So Nigeria is being represented by SON. So several standards are developed for product processing systems using technical experts. And so let's go straight without wasting much time. Okay, this of course this is just definition. What is environment? So of course we know all these and those things that constitute the environment, the human, the air, water, land, natural resources, animal, that is the flora and the plants. So air pollution, of course, from vehicles, industries, every sources of pollution within the environment. So we contribute to it in one way or the other, either solid waste or liquid waste, gaseous. So what is important is how do we reduce the environmental pollution, burning of fuels. Of course, this we see most times in our environment as a result of our mismanagement. We are not, protecting our environment. Most times when I pass and see this, I get disturbed. What is government doing? We have agencies. So thank God we have Minister of Environment here. So maybe they will answer some of the questions. So water pollution, oil spills will kill our aquatic animals. So I think we know this site, with several dumping sites, even in Abuja here, when you go to Lagos, the one at Ojota. In fact, I don't know. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. We see this on daily basis in our environment, and many times we face a lot of challenges as a result of our mismanagement. We experience this year, next year, another one again will still occur. So I don't know what is happening. Another year will still, so what's this agency normally respond? What do you call them? No, no, not NEMA. No, when there is an emergency, when there is problem, there is one agency. Is NEMA right? Okay. Do you have anybody from NEMA here? Nobody. Okay. What about FEPA? Federal Environmental Protection Agency. They're not here. Anyway, Ministry of Environment is their, parent body. They will answer all the questions. So why do we keep having this problem every year? So every flood, most times due to ozone layer depletion, due to our industrial activities. So today we keep talking about greenhouse emission, global warming, but we are the one responsible for all these problems. So what we are saying is that everybody should key into the system, be able to manage and protect the environment. So if you go to some places in the West where deforestation, all this agbegi, I don't know why, maybe the government should wake up and do something before they destroy the environment and kill all of us. So the earth effect is very colossal. Many people suffer from one image or the other. So many, if you go to hospitals today and they give you the statistics, it's so alarming. In fact, you realize that even 50% of the people walking on the streets are not healthy as a result of our pollution, as a result of our environmental destruction. And the funniest thing is that even young generations, infants have been affected. Innocents, they've not even contributed to the trouble, but unfortunately, we are the one making them to suffer for a sin they have not committed. So you can imagine things like this that we see on daily basis. Even in our various homes, the drainage system, and many of us say that despite our level of awareness and education, we still contribute. Look at the ozone layer being destroyed. God Almighty gave us, in fact, did everything perfectly okay. But we, the human being, we decided we are the one destroying what God has created for us to protect us. The sun, that ray, ultraviolet rays, God, look at that ozone layer, is the one protecting the sun. I mean, so that rays, that radiation will not directly hit our skin. But by our industrial, evolution and destruction, not minding the environmental, protection, we end up destroying that ozone layer, and now ultraviolet rays is hitting us directly, which is very dangerous. That is the reason why we should take it seriously. If it is possible, maybe government should make it mandatory that every manufacturer, every industrialist should get ISO 14001. It should be mandatory. And even if energy to some extent, but that of environmental should be mandatory. So even at times during our agricultural, you want to use chemicals in one way or the other. If you are not properly guided, you end up creating another trouble due to excessive chemicals that you have, spread into the environment. So ISO 14001 is very, very key, it's very important. This is how it came about in 1992 by BSI, the British Standard Institute, were the one that they gave us the template. It started the ISO 14001, and eventually the ISO body decided to review it, perfected it, and now make it ISO the standard for all of us as ISO 14001 Energy Management System standard in 1996. So like we have said, it helps organizations improve their environmental performance through more efficient use of resources and reduction of waste, gaining a competitive advantage and the trust of stakeholders. So an environmental management system, it helps organizations to identify, manage, monitor, control their environmental issues in a holistic manner without leaving any stone unturned. So it requires an organization to consider all environmental issues relevant to its operations. Like I said, we should not just do corrective action. We should ensure we do root cause analysis and tackle whatever problem that we have in our various industries. Don't wait for FEPA or the federal regulatory body to come and audit you and sanction you. On your own, you should be able to do all this yourself and get yourself free of any trouble with government. Because many of us just do this maybe for certification or because of the regulatory bodies, but it goes beyond that. We need to protect ourselves, we need to protect our environment, we need to protect our future. So I don't want to talk details of the standard. We are only just creating, let us see the relevance of these standards to our society. So environmental impact, any change to the environment, whether adverse or beneficial, wholly or partially, resulting from an organization's activities, product or services is considered environmental impact. Either killing of our aquatic life, the fish, increase in global temperature with more ice melting, filling the land so nothing can grow downward or upward, washing away of topsoil, making land barren. So these are some of the effects of our actions. And so continual improvement, the process of enhancing the environmental management system to achieve improvement in overall environmental performance in line with organizational environmental policies. So we should have environmental policies in our various industries so that we should be able to address all environmental matters in our factory. Depending on what you are producing, identify your waste product, identify those areas where you are destroying the environment and be able to tackle them before government regulators even visit you. So you need to set target and carry out activities, generate records and reports like other facilitators have said. We need to have data to address all these matters, review our performance, set new targets from one level to the other. And with that, we should be able to get it right. So non-conformity, we have already talked much about this, so let me just move on. Okay, these are just the clauses of the standard. The clause 1 talks about coverage of the standard, intended outcome, having your scope of operation. The clause 2 addresses normative references. Clause 3, terms and definitions. Those are the structures of the standard. Context of the organization, leadership, commitment, environmental policies, organizational roles, responsibilities, and authorities. We need to assign roles. We need to hold somebody responsible for any action. There should be environmental compliance, our planning, our objectives. So these are just details. Provide the necessary resources. Well, when you will need finance and one thing or the other, and that is the reason why the management should be carried along. You need to educate them. You need to let them know what is happening, so that by the time your paper or your document gets to them, you can easily get approval. So performance evaluation. So we carry out our internal audit, do your management review, monitor what you need to monitor, haven't identified your KPIs. With that, you'll be able to monitor your processes and you carry out your internal audit to see where you have gaps. This should be at least once in a year. Don't wait. Some of us will wait for too long. So many things have, damaged. So many things have gone wrong before we start doing assessment. Many times, in fact, to some extent, lives will even be lost. It's only when somebody died, when there's a problem, that's when we now set up committee, or we now say, let us do assessment when somebody has already died. So we don't wait until when we begin to have all these issues. It should be something we should be proactive and don't wait until when there is trouble. So benefit of auditing, we don't need details, management reviews, improvements. So we won't have a society if we destroy the environment. That is just a conclusion. If we do not manage the environment very well, today we are suffering from several diseases that we have not experienced in the past because of our negligence. And we are the one destroying the environment, and today we are paying dearly for it. So we need to keep our society, we need to keep our future and our generation to come. So we talk much about benefits of ISO 14000, which is the environmental management system. And I believe our take home from here will be that when we get back, we have to go and sell this to our management. And before the end of this year, 2026, we are expecting to see, if not all industries, at least for now, 50% of industries coming to SON for this certification. So in conclusion, using ISO 14000 can provide assurance to company management and employees as well as external stakeholders that environmental impact is being measured and improved. So that all of us can go and sleep with our two eyes closed that yes, every industry, every manufacturer, that you are doing the right thing and we are all safe. Thank you.
Okay, we have now come to the Q&A session, or what we can call the interactive section. Luckily, all the presenters are still in the hall. They are still with us, except the vice chairman of Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, Abuja branch. Of course, looking at the content of what he presented was just a welcome remarks. But for other presentations, we would like to take your comments, questions, answers, if possible. Why I said answers is, if someone asks a question, we still operate open door policy. You can also answer. Not necessarily the fact that you are the one that made the presentation. So the floor is open now. I hope somebody is with the mic, the roving mic. All you need to do is just lift up your hand and let us know. Otherwise, I'll be the one asking all of us questions. and I'll move to any table that I like. So who is going to take the first shot? Oh, thank you, sir. That's number one. Any other one? I want to take the numbers so that we won't be extending it. You are number 2, sir. Number 3, sir. Okay. Any other one? Okay, let's do the 3. Oh, 4. Ajia, making 4. Please go ahead. You are number 1.
So, good afternoon, everybody. It's another good day again. We're improving day by day, every training. And I think the purpose of the training, we're achieving it. And the problem is just that the top management, as we've said. But I want to throw my question down to the representative of the government here. If government policy, according to our last speaker, is to achieve a certain percentage in years to come, that will be an alternative power. But if you go to the market now, you see the government policy and what is playing is not actually going according to the policy. Like, for example, things that has to do with this alternative energy supposed to be out of tax and some other charges that will encourage people to go into it. But if you go to the market, you see that they even put custom duty and charges on those things more than other products. So you begin to ask yourself, are we really serious? So I want to also challenge them to, if only they can answer or they'll push this back to their policy, that we as a country, are we really serious if only we have this policy and we intend to achieve this? And secondly, to the go to the government.
Before you go to the second one, I think our relevant government agencies, particularly executive partners, we are taking note. You can put your heads together. One of you should at least be able to address that question. Next one, please.
The next one is these two ISO. They are really very, very important to our existence as a people, as a country. And as what I understand today, they are not compulsory. But if living is compulsory, I think some of the things have to be also be put to be compulsory. Like MAN, for example, the Manufacturer Association, they are union that control the entire industry. I think they should do something by trying to see if industry must continue, some things have to be compulsory. If that also will be taken, I think our top management will be serious. But what I see is that some of the management, like the top company, they are foreigners. They come and pick and go. So they don't really care whether it works or it doesn't work, because they will not be here to enjoy or to suffer with us. So, but if the industry can try to put, the union can try to put some things on ground to checkmate these things to be compulsory, I think them also will have to play along to see that they also make this thing to work. This is my question and my conclusion for now. Thank you.
Okay, before we, please, let's clap for them. Una no ask. Make una clap now. Before we take the second one, the next number 2, I would like us to respond to those 2 questions so that we won't prolong it. I'll take the first shot, the one that talks about MAN. By the way, MAN is not a union. MAN is an association. MAN is a company limited by guarantee. It's a corporate citizen of Nigeria, and also has the backing of the federal government of Nigeria as the apex voice, organization that speaks for or on behalf of manufacturers nationwide. And that is why MAN statutorily sits on the board of over 42 parastatals, agencies, polytechnics, and some technical university of technology in their country. Because government in its wisdom feels that from the governing council or governing board level, where decisions are taken that will affect industry generally, the association should be able to sit at that table and guide policy formulation. On our part, we have what we call the code of conduct for members. I'm glad you are a member of MAN. There are some things you cannot do, otherwise we will not back you. Also, we insist that you comply with all regulations. For example, we're on the governing board of Standards Organization of Nigeria, so we definitely, by compulsion, need to encourage and must encourage our members to comply. We also sit on the board of NAFDAC. I'm just citing examples. It simply means if we sit on the governing board where the regulations and guidelines are released, we ensure that our members also comply. Now, drilling it down to IEE and RECP, adoption of the methodology in industries, that is why the association is at the forefront of implementing this particular project. So there's many members that can latch on. You'll recall that UNIDO expect us to train a specific number of industries. We've doubled it ultimately. And the essence is so that the more, the merrier. I won't speak for government agencies, so I don't know who wants to speak. Madam, NIPC, can you please pass the mic? Okay, SON also wants to respond.
Thank you. I'm from Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. I want to respond to the first question. First of all, I want to say that government cannot, do completely without tax, because that's where they get revenue to provide some services for the citizen. However, there are incentives for those that want to go into renewable energy. Like NIPC, we have a document. We have a document that you can see all the incentive that we provide. For instance, zero duty, zero import duty. If you want to import equipment for renewable energy, it's a zero import duty. Then if you want to generate then license waiver for those that want to generate electricity less than 1 megawatt and the rest. So there are incentives for those that want to go into renewable energy. Government cannot completely do without tax. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my sister. You have answered part of it. So government has incentives. So even though it may not be 100%, but at least something to encourage you, to support you. And I also want to talk about SON. This certification that we do, we give to SMEs, we give them 50% discounts. So at least we deserve applause. 50% is not a joke. It's not 10, 20, 50% discount from our normal price that we charge for certification of any of these, either environmental or ISO 9001 quality management system, any of the ISO certification. If you are under the SMEs, we give you 50% discount. Thank you.
Okay, without necessarily speaking for the government, maybe because I'm a practitioner in the industry, the bouquet of incentives talked about by NIPC is something you need to look at. In addition, the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, that is our supervisory ministry, also have specialized incentives. If, for example, you are going into any of these clean energy tech, equipment or components, all you need to do is approach them. There are incentives. They will write proposal and submit to the tariff review board. at Ministry of Finance and grant you some concession. Some members are enjoying that. But where they will not waive tax for you, if you are not a manufacturer, you are not an assembler, you are just a trader, you've traveled to a country and you have imported something without employing anybody, and you lock it in the warehouse and you want to sell and make money, the government will tax you now. But if you are bringing it as CKD, you understand, couple. CKD means completely knocked down. You want to couple because it's a new tech. In the process of coupling, you employ some people. You have some level of value chain. You can enjoy. I know many products that ideally should be paying as high as 35% duty that are paying 5%. And I know so many also that are paying 0, especially if it has to do with agriculture, renewable energy, and some other related or development-oriented manufacturing ventures. Okay, number 2, sir. It's been addressed. Okay, fantastic. Number 3. Number 3 is Alaji. Let me give Alaji the mic.
My question has been answered by SON, Standard Organization Engineer Lawal. So,
Fantastic. Who was the 4th? Ajia. Let me give Ajia.
Good afternoon, all. Mine isn't really a question, but I just want to know what criteria were used to select the companies that were visited, because I would have loved my company to be part of this. So, because I believe because we are on CNG presently, I felt okay, we are energy efficient. But maybe if you come, you might be able to tell us some lapses that could also still reduce our overhead costs. So I'm really not happy that my company was not selected for this.
Okay, what's the name of your company?
New Material Nigeria Company Limited.
Raw material.
New material.
New material.
Yeah, we are into production of fiber cement board. It's actually a new technology that is used in building.
Okay.
And it's also green energy.
Okay.
But, maybe if you had come, you would have told us some other things to put into consideration and optimize our production, still reduce cost for us in our organization.
Okay, thank you, madam. First of all, during my presentation or the overview of the project, if you were here when I was presenting, you see that the project document mandated us to focus on only 5 sectors. By 5 sectors, for the purpose of information, in industrial sector as a whole, you have a number of other sectors. They will treat the industrial sector as one. But for those of us that are conversant with MBS report, you see that when you look at industrial sector statistics, it's further broken down. And the way it's grouped, for example, the manufacturing sector, industrial sector in Nigeria is further broken down into 10 sectoral groups and 76 sub-sectoral groups. I will explain myself. If I pick one sectoral group, for example, even though all of them are sectors under manufacturing or industrial sector, if I pick food and beverage sector, for example, under food, beverage, and tobacco sector, under that sector, you have 17 sub-sector. Those doing tea, that's a sector. Those manufacturing carbonated drinks, that's a subsector. Do you understand what I'm saying? For the purpose of education. So the project expected us to focus on only 5. Unfortunately, your product, from what you have said, belongs to the non-metallic. So I don't think we covered that. And that may be the reason why. But for information purposes, the company that was selected for the cleaner production assessment, one, we looked at their dedication. Because this training has been on. You can't just jump in and say you want to do advanced when you have not done the basic. Number 2, we also looked at one point or the other, I don't know whether we did that, any of you, we also conducted some funding assessment We didn't announce, we just passed things around. I say, write this, write that. So we scored them. Ajia, listen to me, Obiko, leave NIPC. We scored them, we graded them, because your question, it's asking, is heavy. So I need to take advantage of it. We also graded the companies and scored them. We did same in all the 4 zones. So that's another yardstick. Then the third one is that we wrote to those that have crossed, that did well in those 2 yardsticks, we wrote to their management, because management buy-in is very essential for domestication and for deploying these methodologies. And once we sent letters to them, and the management needed to write us back. 1, signing on. 2, giving us the names of their representatives that will be trained, further trained. Because in each factory, you must have at least a minimum of 4 persons in a group, maybe 2 trained on IEE, Industrial Energy Efficiency, another 2 on RECP. So all of that, we build their capacity towards the CPA. So whenever we visit your factory, what we normally first of all ask is, where is your group, the RECP group and IEE group? So you can see how thorough. And I think I heard Engineer Obafemi also telling you, we'll have collected data from them. Because management has approved that they should. There are places that we can't even snap photograph. But because of approval, they still allow us to snap. They provide certain information. Because ultimately, the report of our findings will be useful to the management. But I would like to say that all is not lost. If your management is still interested, it's just that it will not be funded. We have national experts that you can contact, and they will, or you reach out to a man who will recommend to you, the one that is very close to you, that you can contact to conduct that assessment for you. And they have the equipment already that they will use, and the report will be given to your management, and you can now use that to place those things in your factories. Okay, on that note, I think we have come to the end of question and answer session. Or do we still have anyone? What about comments from our, you have something, okay, and you've been quiet since. I would also like to get feedback from members of our governing board, PSC. I think NIPC has spoken. If we have any other person that would like to say a word, or a member of our investment committee, the ones managing the fund that they are releasing to the industries. Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
All right, sir, thank you. Mine is more or less like a suggestion, because I've learned a lot in this session. I've learned about ISO 14001 and 5001. And I know that a company are conversant with ISO 45001 and 14001. But this of 5001, they are not so used to it. So I will suggest that SON, maybe during their audits, because they visited our company before, they can have maybe a direct, a brief session with our top management to enlighten them more on the importance, because I can see that these two, 14 and 5001, the two are so beneficial to all of us, and as a nation, it's very good for us to implement these two in a very a good
All right, madam. Okay, I'm seeing another hand, but before you, sir, I would like to say that, Engineer Lawal, you have noted that. So when you go for your normal audit, visit to factory, educate management on the need to also, by the way, what they are
been doing that for some time, we've not been hearing about them. So I think they need to create more awareness so that people know they are there, what they can. So if Jeff and UNIDO is doing this thing, if there's a way they can factor them in, so that we hear from them. It's just like a national orientation agency or thereabout. So when they said, we're so happy.
But it got to a point that we're not hearing anything again. So Sun, I don't think they are going to, they are supposed to be an organization making money, what they call it, to make money for government. If they are not actually out to make money, but to that standard, and for us to comply, the compliance and everything that we're talking about, the certification is even talking about, if there's a way they can break it down to encourage people to go through their tutelage and know. Now that sometimes they come up, they talk, we learn one thing or the other. But son, we've not been hearing, to the point that personally, sometimes I feel that those logos you see and most of those things, I thought maybe some of them would just come and print and put something. That's my own submission personally. Because we've not been hearing the people that are doing it, we are not hearing them. So please, if there's a way they can carry them along, or they create more awareness so that we too in our own various organizations, we can echo so that it can give them more visibility so that people will know that yes, they are up and doing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And I must say that of the project, did I mention Sun? I did. But I want to say some things. Let SON speak for themselves because you have been part and parcel of our program all along. You have not been seeing them.
Thank you very much, sir.
Wait to Engineer Lawal. I know you are in a hurry to defend yourself. So, in the wisdom of UNIDO and Jeff, they are part of the pillars. In fact, they have a particular pillar focusing on sensitizing industries on ISO 50014. This is phase 2, by the way. They've done phase 1 some years back. So, but something happened. He's the one that will be able to explain. And I want to give you one assurance. If his response is not balancing well, I will tell you the truth, the other side of it.
Thank you very much, sir. At least you have supported us, and I'm glad to hear that. We have been part and parcel of this program. In addition to that, some years back, we wrote hard copies, not even soft copy. We wrote to all MDAs. There's what we call, under that ISO, that where we represent Nigeria at the international level. So we don't do it alone. Almost all of it, we wrote to all MDAs, even private sectors, give us experts to join us in this work of standardization. And today we have more than 10,000 experts from different agencies and private sectors that are working with us under our standard development, both at the national and international level. And so it means if you have not joined or you are not privileged, one way or the other, something is missing. And thank God you have met me today. So you can also join us to be members, one of our experts in standards development, either at the national or at the international level. I'm even one of the people that register experts at we have two sides of it. We have the ISO and we have the IEC. I'm the one in charge of the IEC, all electrotechnical products, standardization activities worldwide. And so we can see after the program so that you too can be part of our experts in standards development. So we have been part and parcel of all this. I also mentioned after the program, somebody asked incentives. All SMEs, we have database of all SMEs in Nigeria. We have database of all manufacturers in Nigeria because we visit them every day on daily basis apart from Saturday and Sunday, Monday to Friday. We have offices in all the states of the Federation. There are some states because of the volume of work, industries like Lagos, we have 3 states offices, as in 3 offices, they divided them into 3 regions. In Lagos State is divided into 3. So to cover all the industry because of the volume. In the east we have 2, in Onitsha we have 1 in Inewi, 1 in, so we are there to, very close to the grassroots to make sure that we reach out to every industries, every manufacturers, even all the small micro SMEs that are in the country, we have their information. And that's why we decided, we have written to all of them and we told them, come, we'll give you 50% discount. Not only for ISO certification, whether for energy, environmental, and including product certification. Your product in question. We also have a privilege incentive of 50% discount. So we have done more than enough, if I may say.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Thank you for introducing yourself to us again. Please, let's endeavor to grab his legs, his hands, and his complimentary cards, if possible, before he leaves, so that some of those incentives will be extended to us. Testifying on behalf of Manufacturer Association of Nigeria for over 7 or 8 years now, we have an MOU. If you're a registered member of MAN, and we send our list quarterly to SON. If you're a registered member of MAN, you enjoy very great discount on SunCap, on ManCap, on some other services of SON, including the aspect of calibration, anything that has to do with SON services. And manufacturers have enjoyed that for years. By the way, before we lose a very important aspect of your comment, sir, is that SON is a request, which is more like reinforcing what Madam said. Apart from collaborating with other institutions, strategic institutions, also endeavor to create avenues through which you sensitize not just industrialists, but if possible, stakeholders on your services and the benefits of having these ISOs. Thank you. On that note, I think we have come to the end of the question and answer session, and I hope we've been able to answer all your questions very well. I would like to, at this point, congratulate those that are receiving letters for their, because SON will be conducting a training, which will end up in certification, any ISO certification, as auditors and lead auditors. I'm congratulating you in advance because you don't need to pay a dime. All you need to do is make yourself available and endeavor to pass the exam after the 1-week training. Once you pass, you have become an expert. You'll be living with your ISO certification, and you can offer services both to SON, industries, and even to other organizations that may need your services, either by way of training or by way of supporting a team to deploy ISO system in a particular organization. On that note, I would like to thank you once again for the opportunity to handle this session. And I would like to invite the national, please bring the mic. A member of the investment committee wants to speak. Alhaji Mukhtar from Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. Apologies, I forgot that.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm from Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. I think I just want to make some comments about manufacturers in Nigeria. If you are manufacturing in Nigeria, at least nothing stops you one day or any other day to just walk in MAN, NIPC, Export Promotion Council. At large, you can come to the ministry. At least that will expose you to so many things. So many things are there that manufacturers are not taking advantage of. And those programs are rolled out for manufacturers and factories to take advantage of. And if you have not gotten some of this information, there's need for you to at least one day just walk into Federal Ministry of Industry and say, I've come here, please, what do you have for us? Then so many things will be rolled out for you and you will take advantage of those things. And they are very good, critical to your activities or investment. You see, even raw materials, even the raw materials that you use in your factory, there's incentives in it. If you come to the ministry, we will tell you how to apply those things, and then you get them. We have IDEC. IDEC is majorly given to people who want to invest, who want to import machineries into Nigeria. You are given duty, it's duty free. You come to to the ministry. We'll tell you how to apply for those things, and you get them. Raw materials is even, we even have it regional wise, not even Nigeria. It's an ECOWAS thing. We have chapter 99 ECOWAS tariff. We'll let you get that incentives, and then it's a benefit to your factory. So many of it are there. Even the tax you are talking about, we have tax holidays. If you your company have all it requires to get that, we'll put you in that, and then we'll give you some tax holidays. You will be very, very surprised if I tell you some of these things. Big companies that you look at that you think, this one, that, like Dangote Group, BUA, they come to the ministry, they benefit out of these things. It's only the small ones that never minds about it. But some of these big MT and all these things, they come to the ministry, they take advantage of these things, and they are living well with it. So please, and please, and please, if you are manufacturing, come to Federal Ministry of Industry, go to NIPC, go to SON, go to Export Promotion Council. There are so many things, so many things that you will benefit from. Don't stay in your comfort zone, please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'll yield the floor to one of our national experts to share something with us on behalf of the communication group.
So again, just like Mrs. Moji was saying earlier, if you can just bring out our phones. So these are just the different social media networks that the project has. If you can just test it out, you can decide whether it's Facebook you want to scan, LinkedIn. Some of us have done this before. And then we have the X/Twitter handle, the website, and YouTube. So if you can just test it out and follow. I believe we all have Facebook, so maybe we should test the Facebook one out and all follow the Facebook. Just if you scan the barcode with your phones. If you need to come closer, you can come closer. Okay. So just like Dr. Shipe has just said, Dr. Shipe MNI has just said, you can, if you have pictures, you can post. Also, on the different social media networks we have, there are pictures, videos from past and present, including this one, I believe in the next week or two, will be on some of these social media networks, including LinkedIn. So if you want, you can go have a look, maybe find yourself and share/repost. Hope we're all good. I'll leave this on just in case we need more time to test it and to follow. Thank you. So I'll be handing the mic over to the National Project Coordinator, Mr. Oladipo Jacob, to give the closing remarks.
Thank you. Before my closing remark, I want the implementing partners to wait just for 3 minutes after the program. Also, the national experts wait too. Jeff should wait too to meet with the PMU. This program still has some outstandings, like the competition. I think letters are being circulated for that. We also have an advanced training on the methodologies. Also letters are being circulating. We have the other trainings that SON will carry out, the training on the auditors and lead auditor. Also, letters have been circulating about that. Distinguished participants, respected resource persons, representative of industry, colleagues from implementing agencies, the project management unit, ladies and gentlemen, as we draw to the close of this engaging and productive workshop on ISO 14001 and ISO 50001 standards for efficient and cleaner production, I wish to express our sincere appreciation to everyone who has contributed to the success of this program. Over the course of this workshop, we have deepened our understanding, our environmental management systems and energy management system, and more importantly, how these standards can practically apply to improve resource efficient, reduce waste, low energy costs, and enhance the competitiveness of our industry. The knowledge shared here is not only relevant to industries, the knowledge is also good for compliance, but serve as a strategic tool for sustainable industrial development. I would like to specifically appreciate our resource persons for their insightful presentation and practical guidance, as well as our participants for their active engagement, thoughtful questions, and willingness to embrace new approaches to efficient production. Let me emphasize the real value of this workshop lies not in what we have discussed here, but in what we will implement in our various organizations. We therefore encourage all participating companies to take concrete steps towards adopting and integrating ISO 14001 and ISO 50001 towards the adopting and integrating it into operational process. The PMU and our partners remains available to provide all necessary technical support as you move forward in this journey. The initiative is a critical component of our collective effort to promote industrial energy efficiency and resource-efficient cleaner production in Nigeria. By aligning with this international standard, we are not only improving industrial performance, but contributing to the national goals on climate action, environmental protection, and sustainable economic growth. On behalf of the JEF, UNIDO, MAN, PMU, I thank you all for your time, commitment, and cooperation. We look forward to seeing the positive changes that will emerge from this engagement. I wish you safe travels back to your destination and success in your implementation effort. Thank and God bless. So, I think the lunch is okay. Madam of Ceremony.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention and your time. Lunch is served. We will be approaching a few of you for interviews during lunch, but we can go for our lunch or our packed lunch, whichever category we fall into this afternoon. So lunch is served. Please enjoy. Thank you for coming.